You did all that.
Can I see him?
Miss Hillman, would it be okay if Mr. O'Neill saw his son?
That's fine.
I'm happy.
You look happy.
19, I was young, dumb, and full of eggs, and I was doing me.
Young, dumb, and full of eggs and doing me. I don't think I've ever heard it explained like that. Very sorry, Mr. Grider.
I still love her no matter what.
Mr. Wheat, you are not the father. I'm very sorry, Steve.
I'm so happy. Everybody can follow me.
Miss Hillman, a 20-year-old woman, is in court today alongside her mother, seeking to establish the paternity of her 13-month-old son, DeMarcus. She firmly claims that Mr. O'Neill, the alleged father, has done absolutely nothing to support the child. As expected, Mr. O'Neill strongly denies any responsibility.
Miss Hillman, what type of relationship does Mr. O'Neill have with your son?
Well, Your Honor, he don't do nothing for him. They don't have no relationship together. Like when I hold him, Your Honor, and my baby go to reach for him, he ignore him.
Does he provide for the baby financially?
No, he don't do nothing. My mom and the baby's godmother is the one that actually helps me with everything.
Interestingly, his past experiences with another woman have made him particularly cautious. He openly admits that he has not provided for baby DeMarcus, and he stands by it. According to him, he is 100% certain that he is not the child's father. But how did these two even cross paths? That's where their complicated relationship begins.
How we met, we chilled, okay, da. He told me I was his girlfriend. He didn't ask me like he told me. He demanded that, okay, you're my girlfriend, we're together. So the second night, me, him, and the same two mutual friends, we got together, we chilled. That's when I conceived DeMarcus.
Second night, though.
Mr. O'Neill's attitude in court is nothing short of dramatic. First, he insisted that Miss Hillman become his girlfriend. Now, he's claiming that she was not hard to get. One has to wonder, what kind of spectacle does he think this is? Naturally, Miss Hillman had a response for him.
Don't sit down. Don't stay here and try to do it because the first night me and you met, you sat in our car and you begged. Literally, you begged for it. Don't try it.
Mr. O'Neill also questions whether he is the only man in Miss Hillman's life, pointing out that she agreed to be intimate with him just 2 days after they met. He even goes as far as suggesting that she may have already been pregnant before they met. Quite the accusation, isn't it? Perhaps.
And very quickly, you said you wanted to be in a relationship with Miss Hillman. Is that correct, Mr. O'Neill?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so you did tell her, okay, we're in a relationship now, and you all were having sex. Were you using protection?
No. So
I know.
Man wasn't either.
What other man? She was with you.
She was with you because y'all was at my house.
Mr. O'Neill believes he has superhero instincts, patrolling the world each night and spotting Miss Hillman with other men. Who's to say? Either way, he has yet another bold statement for the court.
Love at first sight, that's what he told me.
And then on top of that, the first time me and him with those mutual friends ever chilled, it was at my mom's house.
And I wish I would have kept walking.
What?
But you did.
You wasn't even walking.
You wasn't walking.
You was on the
riding.
passenger seat.
And I wish I would have kept riding along.
You a scrub because you was on the passenger seat.
He admits that in hindsight, he should have been more careful. After all, children are often the direct result of one's actions. Maybe next time, he won't be so quick to declare a random woman as his girlfriend. Surprising twist, he recalls an encounter at the park where a stranger walked up to him and asked if he was baby DeMarcus's father. His response, yes. However,
Yes.
At the time, until he got a little older.
And then when he got older, what happened?
He started not looking like me.
You look at that and look at yourself in the mirror. He look like you. He like all your family. All y'all got big eyes, big lips, big nose. Look at the cheeks. He got bags under his eyes just like you and your mama.
Mr. O'Neill insists he has kept his distance from the child to avoid forming an attachment, especially if DeMarcus turns out not to be his. Having gone through a similar situation before, he is unwilling to experience that pain again.
Mr. O'Neill, you are the father. You did all that.
Can I see him?
Miss Hillman, would it be okay if Mr. O'Neill saw his son?
That's fine.
I'm happy.
You look happy.
So happy I want to cry.
Mr. Wheat was undoubtedly an emotional man. He stood in court, overwhelmed with sadness, believing he had been robbed of the chance to be a father to a child he claimed as his own. More than anything, he longed to make up for lost time with his daughter. But Miss Grider, the child's mother, was firm. She insisted that she knew the truth, and Mr. Wheat was not the father.
Mr. Wheat, you filed your case because you claim you've been robbed as a father. You are desperate to prove to the defendant that you fathered her 19-year-old daughter, Sierra Sloan, and once you do, you want to make up for lost time. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
From the moment he spoke, his words were filled with conviction. He believed with all his heart that he was the father. He wanted to reunite his daughter with her siblings and couldn't wait for the day she would call him Daddy. The thought of all the years he had missed in her life shattered him.
I believe she is mine, so I want her to make up for all the lost time so she can meet her sisters.
And so what does it feel like knowing that you may have missed 19 years of your daughter's life?
It's hurtful, very hurtful.
Do you think about all of the times of her life you've missed, the important moments?
Yes.
However, as much as Miss Grider wished Mr. Wheat were the father, she refused to deny the facts. She recalled her younger years, admitting that when she was 19, she had been involved with multiple men and made reckless choices.
19, I was young, dumb, and full of eggs, and I was doing me.
Young, dumb, and full of eggs and doing me. I don't think I've ever heard it explained like that. Okay.
When Miss Grider first discovered she was pregnant, Mr. Wheat had no idea. In fact, he only learned about it months later, and in the most unexpected way. After a one-night stand with Miss Grider, a stranger approached him and asked if he was excited to be a father.
Kind of had a one-night stand, and I don't know how many more months later, I found out she was pregnant. Her friend of hers come up to me and says, "How does it feel that you're about to be a dad?"
Really? And so did you confront Miss Grider?
Yes. Well, didn't confront her. We talked about it. She goes, "Yes, there is a possibility that you are our father."
But things got even more complicated. At the time her daughter was conceived, Miss Grider admitted to being intimate with 4 different men, and she wasn't shy about sharing the details of her chaotic past. The courtroom listened intently.
One of them was my boyfriend. He was living with me at the time, and he went away. And then Mac had moved in with me. I met him through a mutual friend of all of ours, and yes, we were sleeping together. And then I went out to Texas Nightlife and saw David and had a one-night stand with him at that time.
When she found out she was pregnant, she did something unusual. She informed all 4 men that she was expecting and that one of them could be the father. No one knew for sure who it was.
I confronted Mac and David and told all of them, all 4 of them.
You
really.
told them all?
Yes.
Listen, I'm pregnant and
you could possibly be the father. Yes, I told all 4 of them.
All right, so in the beginning, you did tell Mr. Wheat you could be my daughter's biological father.
As the case unraveled, the courtroom grew more tense. When Miss Grider finally gave birth, she was asked who had been by her side through the process. The answer? It wasn't Mr. Wheat. Instead, one of the other men she had been involved with had been present for the childbirth, convinced that he was the father.
Who was with you when she was born?
Mac Grider.
Ah, now I get it. So the man you were with went through the process with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
So Mr. Wheat, it kind of left you as odd man out because she was with this guy. You were just the one-night stand, and even though you knew you were a possibility, you didn't feel like you really had any standing.
And then came another twist. Sitting in the courtroom was yet another man, Mr. Grider, who also believed he was the father. But that wasn't even the most shocking revelation. As it turned out, Miss Grider and Mr. Grider had actually been married at one point.
What was your relationship with the defendant?
She is my ex-wife.
She's your ex-wife. All right. So do you think you are Sierra's, Miss Sloan's biological father?
There is a possibility. Me and Charlene were sleeping together and staying in the same house, and we just having sex more than the other guy.
The person most affected by this tangled web of uncertainty was the daughter at the center of it all. Imagine having 2 men fighting over the right to be your father while your mother remained unsure of who it really was. The confusion and heartbreak.
I never knew who my real dad was.
And when you say you never knew?
Never.
You were always told that it was uncertain?
I've had a father figure throughout the years, and he's watched me grow up and never really knew who my dad was.
Oh, okay.
But the moment of truth had finally arrived. It was time to put an end to the speculation, deception, and uncertainty. Was all the chaos worth it? The results were in, and the truth was about to be revealed. Brace yourselves.
Mr. Grider, you are not the father. I'm very sorry, Mr. Grider.
I still love her no matter what.
Mr. Wheat, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
From the very moment Mr. Williams laid eyes on Miss Mayberry, he was convinced she was his daughter. Despite the defendant's firm denial, he held on to hope that the DNA results would finally prove her wrong. However, Miss Vin, the defendant, insisted that she had never given Mr. Williams any reason to believe he was the father of her child.
The moment you saw Quenisha Mayberry, you believe that she is your biological daughter, even though the defendant claimed you are not. You hope today's results prove what you have known for 35 years. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
As the courtroom listened closely, it was time for Mr. Williams to share his side of the story. He was asked how he felt when he first realized Miss Mayberry might be his daughter. His answer was simple. Everything just clicked. She looked like him. Her skin tone matched his, and for him, that was all the proof he needed.
It was the first time I saw her. You know, she looked like me, fair skin, and I just knew she was my daughter.
And when was this, sir?
When she, about a week after she was born.
Oh, right after she was born?
Yes.
You looked at her and you said, this is my daughter?
Yep.
Because you felt like she looked like you?
Well, she's fair skinned. I was fair skinned. Her mom is dark, and the other guy, he's darker.
But there was one undeniable fact. Miss Mayberry wasn't convinced. She stood her ground, unwavering in her belief that Mr. Williams was not her biological father. So how did this mix-up happen? Why did the two of them feel so differently about the situation?
He's not her father, Your Honor. Color don't mean nothing. You know, because he light-skinned and she light-skinned, the other guy is dark-skinned, I'm dark-skinned. That don't prove that he's her father.
It sure does.
I know who's her father.
Well, it's
and
different
it's not,
when you got...
it's not Stanley.
Well,
Your
he
Honor.
seems pretty certain that it is, and I would like to hear his testimony. I want to start with the nature of your relationship.
To understand, the courtroom needed to examine their past. Mr. Williams claimed that after repeatedly trying to get Miss Vin's attention, he and Miss Vin eventually entered into a physical relationship. He admitted it wasn't a romantic one, but they had been intimate multiple times.
They just walk in front of the door to get my attention. And so, you know, we end up, you know, we did mess around, but it was never a relationship.
So how long did this sexual relationship last?
I don't remember, like 4 or 5 months, something like that.
All right. So, Miss Wynn, how do you remember your relationship with Mr. Williams? Can you take me back?
I don't remember.
Then came the real shocker. After hearing Mr. Williams' detailed account of their past encounters, Miss Vin dropped a bombshell. She claimed she had no memory of ever sleeping with him. In fact, she was adamant that such a thing had never happened in her entire life.
I'm trying to get to, do you remember him asking you on a date or meeting up with him later?
Your Honor, I don't remember none of it. And if Stanley knew he was to feel that he was a father, he could have been did this test. He used to come get her, take over his house. He could have did it then.
Well, if you
want to
think
wait 35 years to do this now?
If you didn't think I was, why would you let me take your baby?
I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem.
Her story left the courtroom in disbelief. How could she deny something so strongly when Mr. Williams was certain about their past? Mr. Williams then revealed that he used to pick up Miss Mayberry from her mother's house. When he showed his own mother the child, she immediately remarked that Miss Mayberry looked just like him.
No pictures with her being a newborn.
Not with newborns, but I used to go get her all the time. It was once I came and got her for like my nieces and nephews' birthday parties. I used to go get her so she can come and play with the other kids. And I would keep her the duration of the party.
How long did that last? How often was that?
Well, it wasn't often because I lost contact with them for a long time.
Miss Mayberry, however, had a different story to tell. She believed another man was her father because that's what her mother had always told her. That man had even signed her birth certificate. Yet, deep down, she had doubts. There was no real bond between them, and she had only met him twice in her life.
The man that signed my birth certificate, like, I met him like twice. I don't feel like we have a connection. I definitely don't look like him. I really don't feel like that's my father.
Oh, you had no connection with him?
Nope.
And you've only seen him like 2 times?
And that was when I was like 18. So.
Yeah, I've been mom and dad to her, and I'm still mom and dad.
Despite all the uncertainty, one thing was clear. Mr. Williams never denied her. Whenever people asked if Miss Mayberry was his daughter, he always claimed she was. But he also remembered a time when another man stepped forward.
Yeah, that's how I addressed her. When anybody asked me about her, I'll say this is my daughter.
Was anybody else saying this is my daughter?
It was one situation where I went over to her house, and her and the guy, who's supposed to be her dad, was sitting on the porch. And I walked past him, and I went in the house.
It had been a long, complicated, and emotional journey for Mr. Williams and Miss Mayberry. But now, the moment of truth had arrived.
Mr. Williams, you are not the father. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry I could not give you the closure you needed. Ms. Wynn, can you remember, identify, think about any other person you may have been dating at that time?
As far as this case was concerned, trouble was brewing in what was once their little paradise. Mrs. Cohen stood in court, determined to prove to her husband that he was the father of their 1-year-old son. She knew if the results proved otherwise, her marriage would be over for good.
Mrs. Cohen, you have opened your case to prove to your husband that he is the father of your 1-year-old son, Kyrie. You say your marriage is on the verge of divorce because Mr. Cohen chooses to deny your young son. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
More than anything, Mrs. Cohen wanted the DNA test to confirm her husband's paternity. Told the courtroom that Mr. Cohen was already moving full speed ahead toward divorce, and she was desperate to save their relationship. After all, they had been high school sweethearts.
Right now, I'm trying to save my marriage because we are on the verge of divorce. I want to prove to him that he is the father of our 1-year-old son. He's my high school sweetheart. We met in the 10th grade. We started dating. We've been together for 7 years, married for 3, and I just really want to prove to him and his family members that he is the father of our 1-year-old son.
On the other hand, Mr. Cohen couldn't hide his pain. He never imagined he would find himself in paternity court, questioning whether the child he had been raising was truly his. If I were in his shoes, I'd probably feel the same way.
I'm just really hurt right now that we had to come this far to get these answers. And I have had lots of doubt about Kyrie, and it will really hurt if that does come back and he's not my child today. It really hurt. And I love my wife, and I want us to be together forever, but I can't get past this.
Once both had expressed their feelings, it was time to get to the heart of the matter. The judge asked Mr. Cohen how he found out about his wife's infidelity, and his response left everyone in the courtroom stunned.
Jasmine, we broke up. We said we was gonna be done with each other for good. We were still living under the same roof in the same house. Going into May, we began to have sex again, all that good stuff. I went through Jasmine's phone one day after we got back together, and her phone was locked. She had a passcode on it.
Let's just say he didn't trust his wife as much as one would expect. One night, while she slept peacefully beside him, he unlocked her phone and discovered a secret that shattered his world.
I was about to lock the phone. Right when I was about to lock the phone, I opened up the notes in her phone, and I seen my name at the top. I was like, let me click on this note. Why is my name there? I clicked on the note, and there was 2 other names under my name. I instantly realized that was the people Jasmine had been intimate with because my name was first, which I took Jasmine's virginity.
But the story got even crazier. Playing detective, Mr. Cohen tracked down the man his wife had slept with. Unable to let go of his suspicions, he sent the man a message telling him that he was about to have a baby. The response? The man admitted to sleeping with Mrs. Cohen once, but insisted there was no way he could be the father.
How do you know it was the guy?
I went into his DMs and I was like, you're having a baby, sir. And he replied back to me, acting like he knew exactly who I was. He was like, no, I only slept with her one time, and that's not my child. She told me nothing about her being pregnant or anything, and then he blocked me, so there was no father.
To be fair, I was already pregnant when I slept with him.
The judge then turned to Mrs. Cohen, giving her a chance to explain herself. Surprisingly, she didn't deny anything. She admitted that she met the man during community service, and one thing led to another, resulting in a regrettable encounter.
We were on a break. He went to go stay with one of his family members, and I had to do community service, and I met him at community service. And he was just telling me that I'm beautiful and all this other stuff.
That right there, I don't know. Was he doing that voluntarily? Or was he ordered to community service? There's a difference.
He was ordered, but...
While she acknowledged her mistake, Mrs. Cohen also placed some of the blame on her husband. She claimed he had made her feel worthless by cheating on her first, and in a moment of hurt and anger, she sought revenge.
Oh, to be fair, I was getting him back. That's all that was. He was cheating, and my husband has made me feel so low. Like, he's chosen females over me plenty of time. So it was my time to get back at him, so I was just doing what I wanted to do.
Was the sex unprotected?
With who?
With the community service guy.
Yes.
After all the back and forth, Mr. Cohen finally revealed the real reason he doubted the child was his. He claimed to have a medical condition that made it impossible for him to father a child.
I have type 2 diabetes, and I didn't have no insurance at the time, so it was uncontrolled, meaning my sugars were always high. So every time I would ejaculate, my semen would become weird, and it can't travel right.
So how I get pregnant, Corey?
Well, I was about to say, you all do have another child together, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And now, after all the drama and heartbreak, the moment of truth had arrived. The suspense was unbearable. It had been a wild and emotional journey for Mr. and Mrs. Cohen, but now all eyes were on the judge as she prepared to reveal the results.
You are the father.
My God, I'm so happy. Everybody can follow me. Be quiet.
You can stand with your wife, you can stand with your husband. I'll tell you, I mean, some of the best life lessons come from the hugest mistakes.
Folks, let's set the scene. Our main man, Mr. Lawrence, just got hit with some unexpected news. His best friend of 10 years, Miss Payne, dropped a bombshell. She believes he might be the father of her 3-year-old son, Antonio Chandler. It's not your typical case of best friends turned potential baby mama and baby daddy, but here we are. Call from Miss Payne telling him that the court is about to contact him for a paternity test. His reaction? Complete denial. As far as he knew, Antonio already had a father, and honestly, he had a point. The little boy was even named after another man. So why had Miss Payne waited so long to reveal this life-changing secret? Well, let's hear it straight from the source. Miss Payne admitted that she had been terrified of how Mr. Lawrence would react. She loved him as a friend, but she didn't want to risk ruining their bond. However, now that she had no choice but to face the consequences. Just when we thought the drama couldn't get any bigger, Mr. Lawrence dropped a bombshell of his own. He accused Miss Payne of keeping an even bigger secret. He wasn't about to let it slide. Their once solid friendship was now on the verge of collapse, and we were all about to witness it unravel. Mr. Lawrence had never once suspected that he could be Antonio's father. In his mind, his best friend's son already had a dad, and that was the end of it. But hold on, was there more to this story than anyone realized? Miss Payne had some serious explaining to do. Flying back and forth, the courtroom quickly turned into a battleground. It was a classic case of he said, she said, and at this point, no one knew who to believe. The tension was thick and emotions were running high. But now, had arrived. The paternity test results were in, and the air in the courtroom was electric with anticipation. Mr. Lawrence was ready to learn the truth, while Miss Payne held her breath, hoping against hope.
Mr. Lawrence.
Lied all this time.
The only thing I'm trying to do is just try to find out who my baby father is. Because he's 43 years old, he don't want to work.
But you slept with him without protection.
Yeah, I did.
So at this point, the insults are irrelevant.
Well, I had met a young lady. Come to find out it was Adrian's sister. And I thought this about that.
So you slept with her sister. Did you know this?
This has nothing to do with my son.
I'm not saying he is my father. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just here to find out. And I was 11 years old. It took 5 minutes to get in contact with him. So you telling me it took you 21 years to find me? How was it that hard? So you must have not been searching.
Jasmine discovers at 9 that the man she believed to be her father is not, and her true father is Cannon. Cannon refutes this, discussing timelines, leading to a chaotic beginning that only becomes more complicated.
You say your whole world changed when you were just 9 years old, and your mother revealed to you that your dad was not biological father. She then told you Mr. Little was your father, yet claimed he's denied you ever since.
Yes, Your
Honor. Mr. Little presents a 24-year-old calendar to assert that he is not Jasmine's father. However, the dates do not align, and his argument fails to convince anyone, intensifying the ongoing child support conflict.
A calendar from 24 years ago?
Hey, listen, baby, I do my homework.
You got a calendar from 24 years ago.
I do my homework.
Sure, you right.
All right.
What you did is you created a calendar.
Exactly.
To illustrate.
I created a calendar to illustrate, but 3 months later, she tell me she pregnant a month later. I don't know if she Houdini or what. How do you come up 3 months later?
Your evidence.
Mr. Little explains that he was placed on child support despite being informed that Jasmine was not his child. He asserts that the court attempted to conduct a paternity test, but Jasmine's mother failed to appear. Jasmine remains skeptical, suspecting that his primary concern is financial.
I'm at work. HR came to me and said, you need to call this number. I call this number. They tell me they taking money out for Miss Degree. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. This is not my child. She done told me twice it wasn't mine. Now she got me on child support.
You should have wanted a blood test.
Hold up. I got that too, baby. I got that too. Hold up. I got this right here. Hold up. I got this right here from the court, and they tried to get in contact with him.
Corey, Jasmine's brother, expresses his intention to take on a fatherly role and criticizes Mr. Little for abruptly ending a phone call with Jasmine at 11. He is candid about the situation as the impending DNA results loom.
For years, I've watched over my sister. You know, the male figure in her life that she looked up to, because my mom worked hard for us, and we had mostly everything we needed. It was times I didn't even want to say things about my father or that she had a hole in her, because there was one. And that's what, like this photo, if you think about it, it's almost like, what if the test says not?
The DNA results have
In
arrived.
the case of Degree B. Little, when it comes to the paternity of Ms. Jasmine Degree, Mr. Little, you are her father.
This narrative begins with three potential fathers, one perplexed mother, and a 2-year-old caught in the middle. Miss Hatcher had romantic involvements with 3 men around the time of her son's conception, and she is on a quest to identify the biological father.
You confess that at the time you conceived your 2-year-old son, Josiah, you had sexual relations with 3 men. Now, you don't want your son to suffer for your mistakes, so you've requested paternity testing on all 3 men.
Miss Hatcher presents a timeline reminiscent of reality television, revealing that she dated all 3 men simultaneously and utilized a color-coded calendar for clarity. Just as the pieces begin to fall into place, Mr. Scott interjects with an inappropriate remark, prompting a sharp rebuke from the judge.
At the time, I had sex with 3 different men around the same time my son conceived. I did have a 5.5-month fling with Mr. Scott.
No, Your Honor, that is not true. It was just sex, period.
That's what a fling is!
Not to me.
And I had a one-night stand with him around the time. And I also had a one-night stand with Mr. Blake.
Mr. Blake, Mr. Scott makes another disrespectful comment, which the judge promptly addresses, silencing him. The courtroom reacts with gasps, applause, and disapproving glances from Miss Hatcher. Just when it appears that order may be restored, Mr. Scott's demeanor suggests that additional drama is on the horizon.
Did you use protection?
No, we did not.
How much did he pay?
Excuse me, Mr. Scott? You're gonna be respectful in this courtroom.
He is very ignorant. He is just recently, he knows that we don't have a working refrigerator and a stove. And he comes over to my house and he still has the same attitude, nasty attitude that he has now.
Mr. Scott asserts his role as the father, claiming he signed the birth certificate and purchased diapers, until Miss Hatcher introduces the topic of a DNA test. He attempts to portray himself as the responsible party, yet his underlying frustration is evident.
She came and told me she was pregnant. I believed her, because she's a woman who knows her body, who's supposed to know her body, who knows what she does.
So when the baby was born, were you in the hospital?
Yes, ma'am. I was there for him.
And did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I have it right here. Taking care of the side, letting him come to my house on football Sundays. I watch.
That man is not doing any of that.
Mr. Blake enters the scene with a composed demeanor, admitting to a one-night stand with Miss Hatcher and suggesting that the child may be his. He references alcohol clouding his memory, eliciting laughter until Miss Hatcher points out that her son bears a striking resemblance to him.
Got a hotel room that night. Possibility it could be mine. If it's mine, I don't have a problem taking care of mine.
Was it protect sex on that day?
We had a little alcohol, but I think so, Your Honor.
Well, first time we did use protection, and then the second time we didn't.
Your Honor, it wasn't no second time.
We had sex twice.
I only remember one time. I know I wasn't that drunk.
Could be a possibility because the way my son is built, the way he's growing up.
How many people you got to test for you find out?
Okay, well,
as many as it takes in this courtroom.
Mr. Snee, although absent from the courtroom, is nonetheless implicated as Miss Hatcher draws parallels between her son's flat feet and his. The audience is quickly connecting the dots, akin to a child completing a puzzle.
He has flat feet like Mr. Snee.
I thought he had the flat feet.
The only thing I'm trying to do is just try to find out who my baby father is. Because he's 43 years old, he don't want to work.
But you slept with him without protection.
Yeah, I did.
So at this point, the insults are irrelevant.
Yeah, it is.
The results are finally revealed.
When it comes to Mr. Scott, you are the
This narrative begins with familial turmoil as Adriana Tucker seeks acknowledgement from Charles Hunter regarding his paternity, yet Charles remains skeptical, leading to an increasingly complicated situation.
Tucker, you believed another man was your dad until a bomb was dropped on you 10 years ago when your mother admitted that the defendant is your biological father. You opened your case to prove to Mr. Hunter that he is your dad.
Adriana's mother confesses to having misled her about her father's identity, believing that Charles was not suitable for the role. This revelation leaves Adriana feeling deprived of her own narrative, and the circumstances are poised to escalate further.
Told her that someone else was her father.
at the time in order to protect her. I felt like Mr. Hunter was not a good role model.
Or what, she had a better chance of having a father in her life?
No, Your Honor, that's not the reason why. I was dating this guy, but it was basically over. At the end of the day, he wasn't good for her, and neither was Mr. Hunter.
During her 5th grade year, Adriana inadvertently overhears a phone conversation that alters her perception of reality.
I was in the 5th grade and his sister had came and got me one weekend like she always did. They were on the phone and I was over listening to their conversation with her telling him that to meet me, she believed that I was his daughter. And it was my first time ever talking to him. I was really excited. And that's when he told me that my mom was not being honest with me.
The woman informs Adriana that Charles may indeed be her father, but her mother refutes this claim, leaving Adriana with lingering uncertainties while Charles possesses his own unexpected account of the situation.
I was in the 7th grade. Where we're from is very small. So I was at a store. There's a woman who knows them both. And she told me, she said, you look just like your dad. And so I go, oh, you know my dad? And I said his name. And she goes, that's not your dad. And that's when she said Mr. Hunter's name. And that was the first I have ever heard of him.
Charles recounts that Adriana's mother had previously told him he was not her father, prompting him to move on. Years later, he hears rumors, but does not investigate further until an incident occurs where he visits Adriana's school.
Adrian told me she was pregnant.
So when she got pregnant, you were told?
And she told me the child wasn't mine.
And what was your relationship like with Miss Tucker?
Yeah, for a short while. She told me she was pregnant. She said the baby wasn't mine. I left and I got my life together. And I stayed gone for 15, 16 years. I came back to North Carolina hearing rumors that she was mine.
Charles unexpectedly removes Adriana from her class to suggest that he might be her father, leaving her bewildered. He later claims it may have been a jest, complicating matters even more.
I was in middle school and the young woman that is like his daughter, and they called me out of class. And he told me who he was, and he told me that he was my dad. That's what he said.
What?
And I told him no, like I always have said the other man was my dad. And just so happened, my mom still said no. And then we see him. I guess he had just moved back to town.
In a car ride, Adriana's aunt reveals the truth about Charles being her father, while her mother attempts to silence her. Adriana is left in shock, and her mother ultimately concedes to the reality.
I was 23, and we were in a car with my aunt. They're a loving relationship, but my aunt's very vocal. Made the comment to my mom that she had not been truthful to me about who my dad was, and she needed to tell me the truth. My mom looked like she just looked like my aunt better keep her mouth shut.
Oh.
It is revealed that Charles had a romantic relationship with Adriana's aunt, and Judge Lake highlights the chaotic nature of the situation, with Adriana caught in the middle as they await the results of a DNA test.
Well, I had met a young lady. Come to find out it was Adrian's sister. And I thought that about that.
So you slept with her sister. Did you know this?
This has nothing to do with my sister.
When I came back to Carolina, Adrian wouldn't speak to me. She wouldn't talk to me. She had nothing to do with me.
Mr. Hunter, you are not the father.
Prepare for an intense real-life drama that resembles a cinematic experience as Judge Lake initiates the case of Lee V. Lee. In this case, Mr. Lee accuses his wife, Miss Lee, of infidelity on multiple occasions and now questions his paternity regarding their 11-month-old daughter. If you believe this situation is already charged, wait until you hear Miss Lee's backstory, which is filled with unexpected revelations.
Mr. Lee, you say your wife, Ms. Lee, conceived a child after cheating numerous times during your marriage. Now, you claim your family disowned you because of her infidelity, and now your marriage is on the brink of divorce. You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that you are not father of Ms. Lee's 11-month-old daughter, Carolyn Lee.
You will be astonished by the origins of their love story, which resembles a blend of romance and reality television. Miss Lee recounts their meeting at a hotel party where they experienced an immediate connection and fell for each other instantly. While this may seem charming, the narrative takes a dramatic turn with the introduction of a lookalike of Bon Jovi.
Actually getting ready to go on a date with somebody, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine to come to this hotel party to meet somebody else that actually wasn't even Mr. Lee. And I get there and our eyes met, started talking that night. I heard him speaking a little bit of Spanish, and we started making out the whole night. We kissed heavily. The next morning, we exchanged numbers that night as well because we made out the whole night, didn't even remember each other's names.
Just when it appears that the situation cannot become any more chaotic, it does. Mr. Lee's family is incredulous that he remains with Miss Lee, leading them to disown him for prioritizing her over them. As if the complications were not enough, the couple discovers they are expecting a child.
I got a little pissed off because, I mean, at the time, you know, my family disowned me. I had no friends.
Why did your family disown you?
Because she cheated on me and I chose her over them, and they didn't like that.
Her anymore?
Yes. And I didn't do what they wanted, so they threw me out.
Just because you went back to somebody, they threw you out?
It's messed up, I know, but...
He was spending alcohol.
It is indeed perplexing, but the situation escalates. If you assume that pregnancy would bring about a sense of calm, you would be mistaken. It only complicates matters further. Mr. Lee finds himself torn between his affection for Miss Lee and the persistent doubt regarding the paternity of the unborn child. Nevertheless, he is not prepared to abandon the relationship just yet.
When you find out she's pregnant, do you believe the child is yours?
Yeah, at first, she's my wife. Wouldn't, I mean, if you were in my shoes, wouldn't you believe that?
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
I'm not going to sit up here and lie.
I mean, she cheated on me before, but I figured why not stick around?
Things had gotten a little better.
Yeah, things
So you felt like trust?
I felt like I could trust her. I felt like that this was my kid.
At this juncture, one must question how Mr. Lee has maintained his commitment. It is evident that he has endured significant challenges and harbors high hopes, but this forthcoming test will prove to be a pivotal moment.
I do love her. I mean, I realize people have problems. People do things that they're not proud of. I mean, who among us has not?
How you stand here after saying you love her and you don't leave her, but now you're saying you're going to divorce her?
The love's still there. We just, and baby's
We're
not
going
his,
through the
can't
motions.
Stay together.
We've decided that the baby isn't mine. We're just not going to stay together.
This segment resembles a soap opera as Mr. Lee reflects on his presence during Carolyn's birth and his act of signing her birth certificate. He expresses his efforts to fulfill the roles of both father and husband amidst the turmoil. The tension is palpable as he articulates his desire to avoid living in deception, but the emotional stakes will rise further with the involvement of Miss Lee's mother.
Take your time.
I was there when she was born. I signed the birth certificate, everything.
So you signed the birth certificate?
I just don't want to live a lie. I want to know if this is my daughter or not.
If he is not Carolyn's biological father, do you know who is?
No, Your Honor.
As if the situation were not already intricate enough, Miss Lee's mother enters the fray with her own perspective on the unfolding events. However, the truth remains elusive, and the resolution is yet to be revealed.
She never saw really any happiness in my household. I feel bad for that. I was not a great mother to her, but she got kind of taken by my mother and my stepfather. They had her most of the time, but she did not see good things going on in the household. She saw a lot of fighting, and so she got into the dishonesty herself, lived what she saw.
Here it is, the climactic moment that has been anticipated throughout this narrative. Judge Lake prepares to announce the DNA results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lee, you are Carolyn's father.
I told you. I told you. Weird.
First met, it wasn't even like that. He wasn't even in the picture.
You are
He done left. He pried on my girl.
We went on to the store. Well, while we was going to the store, her friend started to tell me a story. She was like, well, I just want to tell you something. She was like, well, the whole time that you was gone, she was cheating on you.
Her best friend told you
This
that?
is what her best friend told me.
And I only did it because I thought you was cheating on me.
Okay.
So you admit you cheated on him?
I did.
And so your best friend told him?
Mr. Montgomery starts off by expressing his feelings, claiming that Miss Parker led him to believe he was Timothy's father. Now, with Miss Parker changing her story and denying his paternity, he insists on a DNA test. Things are about to get intense.
Believe that you fathered her 3-month-old son, Timothy Montgomery. You say you were present at the birth, named the baby, signed the birth certificate, but now Miss Parker says you're not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Montgomery is emotionally invested, declaring that Timothy is his son, and he won't back down easily. But just wait for Miss Parker to reveal her version of events.
I believe I'm the father because, I love her. Me and her were together. We were sexually active. Without a shadow of a doubt, I just believe, firmly that this is my son. I was there, through the pregnancy and signed the birth certificate. And what the funny part is,
because
she
I thought
allowed
he
me
was
to name
your
the son after my deceased father.
Miss Parker's narrative narrative takes a surprising twist as she reveals there might be another potential father involved. This love triangle has just turned into a complicated equation.
I thought he was the father.
You did?
Yeah, because he looked just like Mark in the ultrasounds.
So during the ultrasounds, you felt like they resembled?
Yeah, they looked just like him, and I believed that he was the father.
She drops a bombshell, confessing that she was involved with both men simultaneously, turning paternity into a guessing game. And it seems like Miss Parker isn't finished sharing her secret.
I had sex with both of them around the same time and the same day.
You're talking about one of these 3D ultrasounds? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I had one of those, and I know what you're saying when you look at baby and you pick out features and you say, oh, I think he kind of resembles, but there's no way that you were sleeping with another man during the window of conception.
Mr. Montgomery has gone to great lengths to be with Miss Parker, and the audience is stunned. You can't help but sympathize with him. This is just the start of the drama.
Cleveland, my family, I had a good paying job that I had, left my family, my friends, everything I ever knew behind so I can go down there and be the best father and family man that I could possibly be for her kids, and my son.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Miss Parker admits she grew tired of Mr. Lenu's obsession with his Xbox, leading her to seek attention elsewhere. The courtroom is buzzing with disbelief, wondering how this will all unfold.
I was with Mark. He was always on Xbox. He wouldn't even have sex with me during the whole pregnancy because he felt weird.
First met, it wasn't even like that. He wasn't even in the picture.
Right here. You are
He done left.
He pried on my girlfriend when I was
one
with
at
her.
a time.
Results are finally revealed. They hit hard.
I told him, and
3 weeks after he was born.
But this is because during that time, Your Honor, that he had threatened to Timothy.
Your Honor, she
without her
told
knowledge
in the
and
bed.
take him to Cleveland.
First time she was able to have sex after the baby was born, she waited until after we were done to sit. I don't think you're the father. I think Luke's the father, and I'm still laying in the bed with this woman naked.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Montgomery, you are not the father.
This story kicks off with a bang as Miss Herman enters the courtroom, determined to prove that Mr. Houston is the father of her son, Corey. But hold on, this is just the beginning of a wild ride.
Miss Herman, you are here to prove that Mr. Houston is the biological father of your 2-year-old son, Corey. You contend the defendant duped you and was living a double life. Mr. Houston, you claim that you are not the biological father of Miss Herman's son and will clear your name when the results are read.
As the results are announced, Miss Herman reveals how she discovered Mr. Houston was married while she was pregnant. Her detective instincts are in full swing, promising to make this courtroom drama even more captivating.
I like to call this the investigative stage. That's what I do. So during the time I was pregnant, I had told Mr. Houston that I was pregnant. He said that he would be there for me and my child. After 2 doctor's appointments, he stopped showing up. So I got a little suspicious. Got my investigation glasses on, and I found out via Facebook that he has a wife and children.
Mr. Houston stands firm, claiming he had no obligation to disclose his marital status, as if that detail was insignificant. The judge is already weary of the unfolding drama, but trust me, there's much more to come.
Anything I got going on before I met her wasn't her business. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't curious about the extra stuff. I was more curious about getting to know who she was.
So your marriage and your kids and your wife were all extra things?
No, it wasn't extra at all. It was just something that I didn't communicate with her.
This situation is incredibly uncomfortable as Mr. Houston attempts to sidestep the question about using protection, but things are about to escalate as he tries to clarify his position.
But you didn't use protection when you were sleeping with her.
You did not.
Did you tell him?
Don't lie. He did not use a condom, Your Honor. He did not.
Your Honor.
No, the answer is no. Don't let him lie to you. The answer is no. No. No.
Mr. Houston describes their meeting in such a laid-back manner that it feels like he's talking about a casual lunch. He insists he was merely interested in getting to know her, not looking for anything serious like starting a family. Miss Herman's expression reveals everything. She's ready to share more details that Mr. Houston conveniently overlooked.
I had a homie that just got married. We were celebrating his marriage, I met her. She seemed like she was out of her comfort zone, She wasn't supposed to be there, you know what I mean? So I approached her. I said, hey, how you doing? We started started communicating. She told me her name. I let her know who I was.
He did, Your Honor. Don't let him lie to you. When he do that thing with his eyebrows, he's lying.
With a shift in his eyebrows, it's clear he's not being truthful. When Miss Herman discloses that they were together for a month and a half, tension in the room intensifies. Just when it seems like it can't get any more complicated, Mr. Houston's wife enters with her own perspective on the situation.
About a month and a half, when I found out I was pregnant, told Cortez that I was pregnant, and he didn't say anything on the other line of that phone. He said, "Are you for real?" I said, "Yes, I'm for real." Then he promised that he would be there throughout the whole pregnancy, not just 2 doctors.
At what point do you discover that he has a wife? Are you already pregnant?
Yes.
This moment is the shocking revelation everyone has been anticipating.
How did you find out about Miss Herman?
The way I discovered, they were doing whatever was a message came in his phone. When I have the baby, I want to move in with you. I'm looking like, who the hell is this? And what is she talking about? So somebody is trying to get answers and he playing dumb, wouldn't tell me the truth about it. So eventually I end up calling the number and I talked to her.
Miss Herman, Mr. Houston testified that he wants to be a dad. Has he been a dad to Corey?
No, he doesn't do anything for Corey at all.
This woman's full of lies today. I don't know why.
Can you show your receipt?
I made sure that I had his first pair of shoes. I got him some booties. I did everything that I was supposed to do as far as making sure he had car seats. I did all those things.
Mr. Houston, you are not the father.
Yes. Thank you, Jesus. I ain't got to talk to this man not no more.
What a chaotic beginning. Mr. Hannes pulls Miss Manning into court, asserting that he is definitely the father of her daughter Zoe, while Miss Manning firmly denies it. Just when you think it can't get any more bizarre, they start throwing even more unexpected revelations at each other.
Mr. Haynes, you have brought Ms. Manning court today to prove that you are the father of her 4-year-old daughter Zoe. You say Ms. Manning initially told you that you were Zoe's dad, but now is claiming you are not her father.
The confusion is escalating, folks. Miss Manning lays out her timeline, claiming that Zoe was conceived after she and Mr. Hannes had already separated. Just wait. Things are about to get even wilder.
Sent me a picture. I thought it was my son at first. It was actually Zoe. Took a picture of my son and I compared it, and that's when she was my child.
And why do you feel you know that for certain?
Zoe was conceived at the end of October and we had already broken up.
It's like watching a ping-pong match of parental confusion. Mr. Haynes recalls Miss Manning initially saying he was the father, only to change her mind repeatedly. You won't believe the next round of shocking mixed messages.
She said I was the father multiple times. Then she also told me I wasn't the father multiple times. So first met when I was getting a tattoo, and it was at residence, and we only dated for a short period of time until she ended the relationship. So I ended up moving on, got with my ex now, my son's mom.
This back and forth is draining, even for the judge. After 4 years of uncertainty, both are at their breaking point, and brace yourselves because another potential father has just entered the scene.
Possibility she's yours.
And so he said, send me a picture, and that's what you sent. And once he acknowledged that, yes, I believe this is my daughter, what did you say?
I've never told him he was the father, and I've never told him he wasn't the father. It's always been, there's a possibility. And the fact that he's waited 4 years to take a paternity test is what irritates me.
Confusion continues to grow. When asked about his involvement in Zoe's life, Mr. Hannes claims he has made efforts, but Miss Manning only permitted him to be a family friend for Zoe's benefit. Now, Mr. Hannes presents a timeline to prove he has been trying all along.
Mr. Haynes, have you been a part of her life? She's 4.
I have tried to reach out to her. I have talked to her once, and when I did talk to her, Miss Manning told me not to mention that I was the father. She just told me to keep, I'm a family friend of the family, so.
First off,
what testimony do you have?
We've been together for 2.5 years. She has repeatedly sent him messages saying that he is the father and isn't the father. She's dragging him through hell, pretty much. When he is the father, he's happy and wants to I don't actually try and understand how I'm dragging him through hell when it's been, there's a possibility, let's get a DNA test.
It's time for a DNA test, and the results are astonishing.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Haynes, you are not father.
Watch more paternity court videos by clicking here.
Now you can apologize to me because I'm not the. You apologize. You're nothing but a.
That's right. Oh, you all are 14 and 15 years old. know, 2 babies making a decision that y'all gonna have a baby.
Her mouth is a liar. It's a straight lie. Everything out of her mouth, Your Honor, is a lie.
Okay, Ms.
Really?
Lopez.
Yes.
What lied to you?
When have you ever lied?
The first time I met you was at a funeral and you were just
And when you reach out to me, you will hear me say, don't have no kids you can't afford to take care of. Absolutely. So you have to be on social media asking people, can they help you with your kids all around town? That's why if you reach out to me, you're going to get the real truth. Because if I can't do it and he can't do it, somebody got to do it.
Miss McIntyre had finally reached her breaking point with Mr. Wilson's antics. After 3 long years of struggle, she and her mother decided to take him to court to settle the matter once and for all.
Are 100% certain that Mr. Wilson is your 3-year-old son, Jashawn's biological father.
Yes, correct.
Mr. Wilson, you say you have more evidence than this court has ever seen before to prove that Ms. McIntyre cheated on you numerous times.
Yes, Your Honor. When Judge Lake addressed the paternity issue, it became clear that Mr. Wilson was not outright denying the child, though he admitted to having doubts. He claimed that Miss McIntyre had a history of deception, while she accused him of misleading her.
They claimed they didn't have no way of getting in contact with me. They called me after the fact he was conceived. I wasn't at the hospital.
No, he was
I wasn't
not
none
at
of
the
that because they didn't want me to be there.
He didn't have.
Period.
Why wouldn't we want him to be there?
Period. Because she don't like me, just like I don't like her.
He didn't have a ride. That was his
up.
excuse.
Mr. Wilson argued that Miss McIntyre had deliberately kept their baby's birth a secret from him. However, it was revealed that he had made little effort to be involved, instead using weak excuses to distance himself from the situation.
I got texts that somebody that I personally knew face to face was messing around with Miss McIntyre around the same time I was messing around with Miss McIntyre.
So do you have that proof here?
Okay. Then, hold on, not
Do you
on
have that proof here? No.
Not on that though. I have called Miss McIntyre in her phone.
Where's the text?
A couple of times.
To better understand his doubt, Judge Lauren investigated further. Mr. Wilson alleged that his family had caught Miss McIntyre being unfaithful with one of his acquaintances around the time she became pregnant.
You come back with 2 transies, right?
Super sleep. I was cheating with everybody and anybody.
That.
To be honest with you, I'm gonna be real with you. Because at the point, I'm like, all right,
You
this
cheat on me with
relationship
who,
ain't not going on.
Because super cheating.
Yeah, super. I'm gonna say super cheating.
It's elevated.
Yeah, I'm being honest with you. That was.
So you were just sleeping with anybody.
While trying to defend himself, Mr. Wilson exposed his own history of infidelity. He had continuously ignored relationship boundaries, making it clear that he wasn't exactly the most faithful partner.
We kind of didn't really start making it happen like that till like way after my birthday, which is on March 22nd. But since she said she was on January, we gonna fall with that. She was gone May. Let's put it right there. Ghost. Didn't know where to find Teresa. I'm hearing her line, not getting no texts. I never been to one doctor's appointment.
In an attempt to prove his point, Mr. Wilson presented what he called a conception calendar to the court. He insisted that Miss McIntyre had ghosted him throughout her pregnancy, refusing to let him be involved in any way.
Think is Jashawn's biological father if it isn't you?
I don't know. That's the question I'm trying to find out. I'm not going for it.
He's the dirty one. That's why the ghosts keep falling off. He's no
ghosts don't even believe.
They don't want him to be bothered, and I don't blame them.
All right, well.
Both sides standing their ground and no resolution in sight, Judge Lake turned to the one thing that could settle the dispute once and for all: the DNA test results.
Mr. Wilson, you are his father.
Told you. Told
That's all I needed to know.
Mrs. Matson had given her love and loyalty, only to be repaid with betrayal. As a blackjack dealer, she was used to taking risks, but her marriage had become a losing game. When she started receiving notes that read, "Will you be my next ex-wife?"
I haven't cheated on him.
You want sympathy?
He has done nothing but lie about me to everyone. He's lied to me about everything. I have defended him through thick and thin. He's got his whole family hating me, and none of them even know me.
Tired of being pushed around by her husband and his family, she decided to take the matter to court. But if everything was as clear as she claimed, why was there still doubt about the child's paternity?
Asked me if I
would like to be my next ex-wife.
Yep, we had our ups and downs.
Ups and downs?
2 years after that, we got married.
It turned out that Mr. Matson had been flirting with another woman the very night of his wedding. His so-called charm was being used in an unusual way, trying to win over a casino waitress while celebrating his marriage.
I had my first heart attack in 1997. I have a defibrillator. I've had many operations from then until now. Chances of me having kids are done.
You cannot
cannot have children. You're sterile.
Yes.
As if things weren't messy enough, Mr. I'm old but still charming had married Mrs. Matson while still legally tied to his previous wife. The complications of his love life were staggering, but for now, the court had to focus on one issue: paternity.
Told the doctor that it's our child, and he's like, "Are you sure? I didn't think you could have kids."
You tell the doctor, I didn't think I could have kids. The doctor's looking at you like, what?
What happened? Then the day that she was born, she comes out, she has red hair.
Mr. Matson's main argument was that he was sterile, which is why he was shocked by the pregnancy news. However, Mrs. Matson told a different story. According to her, he had been excited at first and was only pretending to be clueless now.
You openly admit that you were with other women.
Of course.
When you start going out with a man on his wedding day, you're gonna date a man that's married, then you marry a man that's already married. You shouldn't be surprised if this married man is cheating on you in your marriage.
You can't be happy, I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Sterility wasn't the only twist in this case. Mr. Matson had also undergone a vasectomy, making it nearly impossible for him to father a child. Yet, Mrs. Matson was nearly 6 months.
He's got no backbone.
I would have gave you a flight ticket to get the hell out of here.
Oh.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Yeah, you did. You bought me a plane ticket to
what'd you
move
come
to
back for?
Nebraska. Because you begged me to come back and pay for my place back.
Pregnant. Then came the cheating accusations. Mrs. Matson admitted that feeling neglected and betrayed had pushed her to seek comfort elsewhere. She defended herself, insisting that her husband's actions had driven her to it.
Excuse me, everything that comes out of her mouth is a liar. It's a straight lie. Everything out of her mouth, Your Honor, is a lie.
Okay, Ms.
Really?
Lopez.
When have I ever lied to you? When have you ever lied?
lied?
The first time I met you was at a funeral and you were
Let's get some order. Jerome, please go stand in between these women.
Just when things couldn't get worse, Mr. Matson's sister-in-law entered as a witness, but instead of giving a composed testimony, she turned the courtroom into a full-blown soap opera.
Nothing but a snake, a liar, a cheat.
And how do you know anything? You don't
that's
know
right.
me.
I don't know
In 5 years,
In
you have
5
not
years.
got to know me.
My brother's married, and she can't handle the fact that I'm still friends with his ex-wife. Excuse me, but we're
I don't
still
give
friends.
a care about.
You
I
don't
do not care
That's
about.
right.
With both sides standing firm and no clear resolution in sight, there was only one way to settle the case. The accusations and drama had done nothing to uncover the truth. The final hope for closure rested on one thing: the DNA test results.
You are the father.
Told you. Now you can apologize to me because I'm not the. You apologize. You're nothing but a.
Your language. In this case, that seems to be exactly what happened. Miss Tant proved her husband's accusations right by sleeping with his friend, which led to paternity doubts about their 26-year-old son, Daniel.
I met this gentleman that I went to school with, decided to introduce him to my wife as a friend of mine, and next thing I know, he's coming over, messing with her hair, supposedly a hairdresser, giving her all the comforts that I should be giving her. I didn't feel that was right.
It all started when two very cozy neighbors who lived in the same complex kept appearing whenever Mr. Y wasn't home. Things took a turn for the worse when he unexpectedly arrived early one day.
On the door of this gentleman, and he opens the door in a pair of boxers and tells me, "Your wife ain't here." And Your Honor, I looked straight into the apartment when he opened the door, and there laid her red lace panties that I bought and paid for.
Oh, in his house?
In his apartment, right at his foot of his bed. I was just ready to end it all.
Anyone would be devastated to witness such a scene, but Big Mama insisted her ex-husband was making it all up. She even claimed that the lingerie he found wasn't hers.
I was gonna kick the door in if they didn't open the door, because I knew she was in that apartment. And when she did open the door, she was dressed in nothing but a sheet wrapped around her. No clothing.
You opened the door in a sheet?
Yes, I did. That was also the day that I left.
Just like that, her defense of "I wasn't cheating on him" crumbled. So what was her excuse? According to Janice, her husband's erratic behavior had driven her to...
You opened the door in a sheet?
Yes, I did. That was also the day that I left.
She left me and my child, a family, for another man.
And it was due to the arguing and the fussing, and I couldn't put up with it no more.
So...
You're gonna accuse me of doing something I'm not gonna tolerate.
That excuse seemed like a new level of intolerance. But did it justify her actions? Or just 6 weeks later, she discovered she was pregnant. The bigger question...
I was 3 weeks pregnant when I found out 6 weeks later.
So, Mr. Wynn, when did you find out about the pregnancy?
Not till after the boy was 2 years old. She contacts me and tells me, "We have a son." So, I'm joyful. I have a son. I want to raise my son.
Meanwhile, Mr. Wee, despite everything, was still trying to hold his family together. The truth was painful. He was struggling to process it. However, for Daniel, this paternal back and forth wasn't shock. It was just another part of his everyday life.
From the earliest memory, every argument they've ever had always turns into this right here.
And so it would be?
It would just start out as an average, you know, you didn't do this or you didn't do that, and then it would just blow up very, very fast and very, very quickly, and then it just turned into, well, is he mine? Is he not mine? Is it? And it just would keep going and going from there.
Growing under such a cloud of doubt was unimaginable. To make things worse, the other potential father had already passed away. That meant Daniel would never get the chance to know him.
Now my dad raised him as my son. I took him under my wing. I made sure he had what he needed as he was growing up in life.
And that upsets you. You feel robbed of
raising my child, my family to carry on. My name stops with me.
Paternity secrets have a way of lingering, always lurking in the shadows, ready to disrupt lives. After nearly 3 decades of feuding, infidelity, and unanswered questions, the moment of truth had finally arrived. Would the DNA test finally bring closure? Let's find out.
You are not the father. I'm so sorry.
The teenage couple faced a tough time when their grandparents stepped in and raised doubts about their child's paternity. Mr. Gray took his wife to court after her questionable past shattered his trust.
You and your parents claim Mrs. Gray lied to you about her sexual past, and since discovering the truth about her, you now all fear the baby is not your biological daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim that your in-laws' influence is causing your husband to deny his child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Gray explained how it all began. The young couple had wasted no time in getting intimate, and before they knew it, they had a baby while still in their teenage years. Their impulsive actions had led to lifelong consequences.
She and Tanner went to the bedroom and had unprotected sex. She was 14 and he was 15 years old. Within about 3 weeks, they called me into the bedroom. She explained to me that she was late on her period. I looked around for a few things to throw, and instead I went to the store and I got a pregnancy test, and I come back, tossed it at her, asked her if she knew how to use it, considering she was only 14 years old.
Mr. Tanner then spoke about his concerns. He admitted that he had no doubts at first, since they had unprotected intimacy on just their second date. However, as time passed, more troubling suspicions arose.
How about when her family tried to explain to you that if the baby comes out black, that it's still yours? And they had him convinced of this.
That's an interesting fact even for the court.
Yes, yes. I'm like, it took me and my oldest daughter 2 days to convince him that that was not the truth.
Their relationship had moved too fast, raising the possibility that the pregnancy might not have been planned. However, Mr. Gray quickly cleared up that assumption. He revealed that, surprisingly, they had intentionally planned for a baby despite their young age.
Did you say on that date, that second long date, that you wanted to have a baby?
Yes, Your Honor, but he also agreed to, because obviously I turned up pregnant. So if he didn't agree to it, then, I mean...
So you all are 14 and 15 years old, 2 babies, making a decision that y'all gonna have a baby.
Yeah.
Even though their decision seemed irrational, Mrs. Gray defended their actions. She claimed they had gotten caught up in the heat of the moment. Their story was a classic example of babies having babies, showing just how reckless their choices had been.
Considering the fact that during the heat of the moment, I had said something about, getting pregnant, and Tanner, he seemed like that he was agreeing with me, and during the heat of the moment, he got me pregnant.
So it really wasn't a good decision.
It was a mutual agreement.
Based upon irresponsibility and bad decision making.
Despite taking responsibility for the pregnancy, Mr. Tanner still had lingering doubts. His suspicions grew stronger when he discovered multiple flirtatious messages in his wife's emails.
And broken into her email accounts, and 2 to 4 weeks prior to our first date, actually, she had sexual conversations with numerous guys, and I had proof of that. I had sat her down and I told her all about that, and first she denied it. I got into the email again to show her what I had found.
By now, it was clear that Mrs. Vackless Gray had been involved with multiple partners. In fact, there were 6 possible fathers, making paternity an even bigger question. According to Grandma, Caitlin was pinning the baby on Mr. Gray.
She looks at you and tells you, yeah, I slept with 6 other people.
Yes.
My son was the best one out of the ones in which she slept with. Well, considering the fact we had a beautiful, nice 6-bedroom home, and she's seen that, and she took advantage of that.
She came over on that second date, and that Christmas tree was sparkling.
Absolutely.
Right?
Despite their immaturity, they both desperately needed answers to save their marriage. So in the end, Judge Lake made the final call. It was time to read the DNA results.
You are her father.
Miss Clifton and Mr. Little had a rather unusual arrangement, providing each other with baby-making services. But now that their deal had resulted in twins, they couldn't seem to agree on...
Clifton's twins were 4 months old. You learned another man had claimed them
him as his own.
Yes, Your Honor. At first, Mr. Little was convinced that the twins belonged to one of the other men in the picture. That was until he found out otherwise. What started as a seemingly lucky connection between them quickly turned into a complicated mess.
He lied and led me on. He led me to believe that he was single and that he was all for me. Thanksgiving, he was at my house. I made a joke to him like, what would you do if I got pregnant? Just joking. And he was like, you can't do that. And I'm like, why? He said, because my wife was divorced.
Things took an even darker turn when it was revealed that Mr. Little was still married while being involved with Miss Clifton. He had kept his wife a complete secret. And when the truth came out, Miss Clifton was furious.
He had been working on my car. We separated for about 2 years. I had started dating someone else. At the time, he had did some work on my car that it was costly. It was a lot. I said, baby, I'm hurting right now. So all I got, I said, matter of fact, my exact words is, I really need to keep my money. And he looked at me and he was like, well, you know what time it is.
Adding another layer to the drama, Mr. Little wasn't just her lover, he was also her mechanic. Miss Clifton initially turned to him to save money on repairs, but now their arrangement was costing them child support.
I didn't say, is it mine or why you calling me? Because I've known her in the past and I know she's not the one that even play like that. So yes, I was like, okay, well she's pregnant, okay, cool, I guess we're having a kid.
At that point, you accepted that you were the father.
Yes, Your Honor. I get a random text from her texting this other guy how much she loved him, cared for him, want to be with him.
The situation escalated further when Miss Clifton suggested that someone else might be the father of the twins. That only made things more complicated. From the beginning, their entire situation had been chaotic, and this was just another twist in their strange story.
He has a relationship with me, and he comes to see me. My kids are there. My kids are always with me. I'm a real mom, a real stand-up mom. My kids are always with me. If I'm ain't at work or school where I'm at all day from 9 to 5 trying to provide for me and his kids, then I'm at home with my children. He didn't come till Sunday to bring the kids items. I text him on Thursday.
Then came the most bizarre moment. When Mr. Little showed up at Miss Clifton's house to deliver baby supplies, he ran into an unknown man leaving her home. But instead of offering an explanation, Miss Clifton had the audacity to tell him that he shouldn't have shown up without permission. Excuse me, what?
When you reach out to me, you will hear me say, don't have no kids you can't afford to take care of. Absolutely. So you have to be on social media asking people, can they help you with your kids all around town? That's why if you reach out to me, you're gonna get the real truth. Because if I can't do it and he can't do it, somebody gotta do it.
Now, the only way to settle this dispute once and for all was to get the DNA results. Would Mr. Little finally get the truth he was looking for? The answer was just moments away.
You are not.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more jaw-dropping stories. Stay tuned for the next courtroom showdown. You won't want to miss. Thanks for watching.
It happened that night after Cordell had put us to bed.
Oh, after he put you to bed, you had sex again?
Yeah.
The moment.
Yeah. She calls my name twice. Third time, she called his name.
Oh! When you do your neck like that, that means you up to something.
Yes.
Okay. But wait, I want to understand this. Did you or did you not have protected sex with Ms. Ware?
I had protected sex, Your Honor.
And you say, Ms. Ware, he did not. You all did not use protection.
No,
Miss Wilson has found herself in the middle of a paternity triangle involving two cousins, Mr. Nicola and Mr. Eddie, who were raised as brothers. Both men believe they are the father of her 10-month-old son.
You've always believed Errol is your biological son, and you are here to prove that today because your whole family has come to love him as yours. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Eddie, you admit to sleeping with your cousin's fiance.
This is a serious dilemma. Miss Wilson didn't just cheat on her fiance, she cheated on him with his cousin, who's practically his brother. That's wild. And we couldn't agree more with Judge Lauren. The baby's appearance won't prove anything here.
I messed up. I made a mistake. I'm here today to figure it out. I don't want the family feud going on anymore. And me exactly in the middle of it, my child in the middle of it. One night, there was a family get-together. There was alcohol involved. Cordell had been tired from work that day. He had work the next day, and he didn't want to drink. We had all gotten hot inside. Nathan and I went outside.
While it's nice that Miss Wilson and Mr. Eddie regret their affair, their actions were careless and downright disrespectful. Cheating on your fiancé with his cousin, all while he was asleep in the same house, is beyond insensitive.
Mr. Nicola, they admittedly kept it a secret. Yep. What was your recollection of that night?
I came home from work. I dozed off on the couch, woke up. They were all outside. It was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I went out and told them it was time to come in because it was getting late. and I came in, I put everybody to bed,
Who would ever imagine that his girlfriend and cousin would hook up during a family gathering? Certainly not Mr. Nicola, who believed he was in a stable relationship with a woman he trusted. After a long day at work, all he wanted was a good night's sleep.
It happened that night after Cordell had put us to bed.
Oh, after he put you to bed, you had sex again?
Yeah.
Wow.
The shock in Judge Lauren's courtroom is real, and we feel it too. Maybe the first time could be written off as a mistake, but the second time, that was no accident. That was intentional and a blatant disregard for Mr. Nicola's trust.
I just really want
You said you just really want
Arrow to be mine.
Oh. The consequences, right? Isn't that one of the most important lessons we learn in life?
It's safe to say Mr. Nicola is the biggest victim in this mess. Imagine being lied to by two people you love about something as important as the paternity of a child. He's been there since the beginning of the baby's life.
Your Honor, that's why we're here today. I messed up. I made a big mistake, and I really ruined a family. And I'm going to be the first to call myself out because it wasn't right. And I just want to figure it out. I know somebody's going to get hurt today, and I'm sorry to everyone involved. But I just want to get the story ended.
Miss Wilson, what did you think was going to happen after having unprotected sex with your fiance's cousin? Did you really believe you could sweep this under the rug? Of course, it was bound to cause chaos.
Gives you a conception date around October 7th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Which would point to Mr. Eddie. But because you just said you were intimate with Mr. Nicola 2 or so days before, we're still in the window.
This case is so complex that DNA results are the only way to determine the father. The two men were born to identical twin sisters, and Miss Wilson slept with both within 3 days.
She's one of the identical twins. And Miss McCartney sent this statement: Cordell's the dad. He's been dad since day one, and I've been grandma since day one. I'll continue to be grandma either way. So your mother's developed a significant bond with Arrow as well.
It's clear the twin sisters are just as divided as their sons. Mr. Eddie's mom firmly believes he's the father, while Mr. Nicola's mom feels the same about her son. However, she also acknowledges that if her son isn't the father, she'll still be in the baby's life as the aunt grandmother.
So Mr. Eddie, your mother also submitted a statement to the court. She's the other identical twin. She says, I believe my son is Arrow's father. When she took the pregnancy test, I was the first one her and Nathan showed it to.
This situation takes the phrase family affair to a whole new level. The aunt siding with Mr. Eddie is also Mr. Nicola's aunt, so she's technically on both their sides. Her main frustration lies with Miss Wilson, who keeps telling both men they're the father yet.
So Miss Endicott, you are Mr. Eddie's aunt.
And Cordell's.
And Cordell's aunt.
Yep.
Okay, so you're another sibling, but just not the twins.
Right.
Gotcha.
I'm the little sister.
You're the little sister. Yeah. What do you know about this man?
I do know that she tells Nathan all the time, you're the daddy. Then she'll go back to Cordell and say, you're the daddy.
Isn't it just absurd? Miss Wilson has essentially treated the paternity of her child like casting a role in a movie. She listed Mr. Nicola on the birth certificate because she felt he was the best fit for the role of father.
Was that because he was with you or because you all made a decision? Was it a three-way consultation?
No, Your Honor. He was there at the birth, and I felt like Nathan wasn't even ready if it was his own son because he didn't have a job. He didn't have a vehicle. He still lived with his parents, his aunt, somebody.
This whole story is heartbreaking. It's evident that both men care deeply for each other, and the pain they're going through is palpable. Mr. Eddie clearly wishes he wasn't caught up in this drama, and Mr. Nicola's emotions are equally valid.
You would like to say?
I'm sorry for what I did to you.
While we may never know if the family reconciled, one thing we do know is the DNA test results. Let's find out which of the cousins is the father of Miss Wilson's baby.
Biological father is Mr. Nicola.
Miss Jackson has re-entered Mr. Figure's life, determined to prove that he is the father of her son, Daniel. While Mr. Figure fondly remembers the good times they shared back in the day.
So the bottom line, you all did have a sexual relationship, right?
Yes, we did.
So Mr. Figures, you acknowledge that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You did. Did you use protection? Were you guys using protection at the time?
Well, no, ma'am.
Not using protection.
We did.
What stands out about this case is how both parties seem to be on the same page about their past. They recall their relationship from 2 decades ago similarly, admitting they didn't use protection.
Getting into the moment of...
The moment.
Yeah. She calls my name twice. Third time, she called his name.
Oh!
Now, I admit I didn't stop because we was in the middle of handling it. But.
It's lying.
But.
It is so lying.
Really? And to this day, she'll say she doesn't remember that.
Mr. Figure doesn't have solid evidence to back his claims that Miss Jackson was involved with other men while they were together. Calling another man's name during an intimate moment might raise eyebrows.
Put it like this. If this man, because I can get in contact with him at any time, if he knew that this was his child, why would I be doing this after 20 years? You know what I'm saying?
Because maybe
if you
don't
look
know.
at my son and look at this man, it's no way in God's green earth that anybody could ever think that this other man is his.
Come on.
I know.
You can't help but feel for the 20-year-old caught in the middle of this. Daniel has to listen as his mother and a potential father argue about his paternity. Mr. Figure insists that the man present in Miss Jackson's life since Daniel's birth is the real father.
Your Honor, I have other children, and they dad come into their life. They come in, they take them places. They go here, they go there. You know what I'm saying? And it's always been me and him. He don't have nobody. I'm all he has, and he is all I have.
When two people, like Mr. Figure and Miss Jackson, engage in such a casual relationship, it's the child who bears the consequences. Miss Jackson has other children, seemingly with different fathers, but Daniel's case is unique.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I've been like this. We don't talk about this at all in my house. That's why I don't talk about it. I don't think about it. And that's it. The only person I really see as my father, because he's been there, is my youngest brother and father, because I have memories with him. Other than that,
At 20 years old, Daniel has accepted the reality of never having had a father figure. It's all he's known, and he's forced himself to be indifferent. Still, it's heartbreaking to know that Daniel has learned to suppress his longing for one while his siblings.
Come on, man. Come on. Look at that boy.
It's a side-by-side picture.
Really?
Of Daniil on the left and Mr. Figures on the right.
Wow. Wow.
Miss Jackson deserves credit for raising her son well. Her intention in approaching Mr. Figure is not about personal gain, but about ensuring that Daniel knows who his father is.
I mean, I have other kids, and I respect and understand what's been going on over here, and he should know. And I don't want to take that from him, especially any longer. It has been a while, and like I said, I'm not running from him because I didn't have to be here.
Right. Thank you for being here.
Well,
now there's only one question left to answer. Has Mr. Figure missed out on 20 years of his son's life or not? Let's see what the DNA results reveal.
Mr. Figures, you are not the father.
Oh my God.
20 years, huh? For this. I hope you find that, because everybody should know who their people are. My dad wasn't there.
A month after signing Sophia's birth certificate, Mr. Fisher's fiancée dropped a bombshell. Sophia might not be his biological child.
I love Brittany, and I love Sophia to death. They're my world, but she lied to me. She kept the truth from me, and it kills me.
So you say you love her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you tell me what you feel?
Sorrow, pain.
Mr. Fisher never once doubted Sophia's paternity. Suddenly being told that the baby he has come to love might not be his has understandably shaken him to the core.
I think that he is the father. I know 100%. I mean, he was there through the whole pregnancy, and he does everything for me. He works, he supports our family. He rubs my back and rubs my feet. He's a great father.
He's been a great father and an incredible fiancé. Yet despite all of this, Miss Doyle cheated on him. What could possibly drive her to betray someone she claims to love?
Had texted me, and so I was hurt, and so I went to be by myself at the pool area where I was at the time, and he's like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk? So I go back to his camper with him.
This situation is heartbreaking. Miss Doyle admitted that her infidelity was an act of revenge. She thought Mr. Fisher was cheating on her, so she retaliated.
And you knew nothing about this until after Sophia was born.
Yes, Your Honor.
I can see how much that hurts you.
A lot.
So can you take me to the day you found out Miss Doyle was pregnant? Take me to that day.
The day that I found out she was pregnant, she had threw up like 3 or 4 times because she was feeling sick.
The emotions in the courtroom are overwhelming. Mr. Fisher's pain is undeniable, and Miss Doyle is visibly torn. She desperately wants him to be Sophia's father.
I kept telling her, push, push, push. I want to see my baby. And afterwards, right there, I held her. I signed the birth certificate and everything, because I thought it was my baby. We stayed there for 3 days.
Mr. Fisher had proposed to Miss Doyle after finding out she was pregnant. He was thrilled to start a family with her. He was by her side during Sophia's birth, held her hand, and stayed in the hospital for 3 days to support them.
Oh, Mr. Fisher, have you said, let me just think about how I will behave, how I will take my next step if I'm not Sophia's biological father?
Even though Mr. Fisher says he will continue to care for Sophia if she's not biologically his, it's clear this will deeply affect him. It will take time to heal from such a betrayal. For his sake, we can only hope that Sophia is his child.
She's yours, then I hope that...
Let me tell you this. You ain't got to be guilty about it no more. Just don't hold it on me no more. That's my baby no matter what. And you're my wife. I love you.
Few men would handle such a situation with as much grace and compassion as Mr. Fisher has. He deserves recognition for his strength and dedication. Now the moment of truth has arrived. Will he also get to call himself Sophia's dad?
Who are the fathers?
Mr. Rajat and his wife, Miss King Rajat, are in court today, both accusing each other of infidelity. They aim to determine the paternity of their 2-year-old daughter, Destiny, and uncover the truth with lie detector tests. The case hasn't even started properly, and the couple is already arguing over who's lying. It's no wonder they've resorted to a lie detector. If Miss King Rajat is truthful, it means their daughter, Destiny, has been caught in the middle of her parents' mistrust and insecurity.
Put a diagram together of that for you.
You have a diagram?
Yes.
Jerome, can you get that, please?
Sure.
It was 2 months into the pregnancy before I found out I was pregnant.
Meanwhile, Miss King Rajat is steadfast in her defense. She asserts that she has been faithful throughout their marriage and is confident that Destiny is her husband's child. The pressing question is, why does Mr. Rajat doubt her so strongly? The case is as confusing as it is dramatic. Both Mr. Rajat and Miss King Rajat present conflicting stories, leaving Judge Lauren, the audience, and everyone else unsure of who's telling the truth. Miss King Rajat alleges that her husband accuses her of cheating only to justify his own infidelity. She insists that he twists harmless events, like her dinner with an old friend, to fit his narrative. Mr. Rajat, on the other hand, seems to be hiding something. He shifts blame onto his wife and declares that if Destiny isn't his biological child, he'll end their 16-year relationship without hesitation. It's a bold statement that raises eyebrows. Fuel to the fire, Mr. Rajat hints at having had a child with another woman, which only deepens the mess of their situation. Yet the core truth about their marriage and fidelity remains elusive as they continue to accuse each other. Shockingly, Mr. Rajat admits that he started losing affection for his wife when she gained weight, leading him to seek attention outside their marriage. This revelation paints a bleak picture of their relationship. Regardless of the paternity test results, it's evident that love and trust in their 15-year marriage have eroded over time. Now all eyes are on the results. Will they bring closure or cause further turmoil?
Distract her from hearing the testimony about what you were talking about to her when she was already pregnant and the way you was lying back and forth.
First of all, he came to me and was like, I still love you, Ania. He don't want to step up.
But is it true that after you broke up, you had the older child, you all were still sleeping together? Because that's why we're here today, so that you could keep having sex with 2 women. I'm trying to understand what day of the week is your child over at another man's Christmas function that neither one of you all are saying you know.
Desperate times called for desperate measures. The plaintiff was in court to prove he wasn't the father of baby Niasia.
Went behind your back and opened a child support case, meaning you are the father of her 4-month-old daughter. You're hoping today's results will prove you are not the biological father before the child support order goes into effect. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. 2 women at the same time? This guy was really pushing his luck. How do people even manage something like this? I could never.
Is it your position, Mr. Hammond, that both women were aware that you were sleeping with them at the same exact time and they were comfortable with that?
Kiara wasn't aware.
Keep it 100, as you would say.
100. Kiara was aware, wasn't aware, she was.
I was aware.
You feel me?
Okay. When he told me he was going to get money from her, I said, go ahead. I'm not going to give you my money. You need to.
Mr. Hammond really said that? The nerve, that slip of the tongue better come with consequences. Where do people even get get the confidence to pull stunts like this? He was getting on my nerves, and I'm pretty sure Judge Lauren Lake wasn't having it either.
You were both pregnant at the same time.
Right.
While this young woman was pregnant with your child,
Right. And I
you
just
were
found-
still having sex with Miss James.
Yeah, that's what I said. Well, we all know that because they're, kind of close. So that's why I say, of course, because it's close.
Oh man, you don't just walk into Judge Lauren Lake's courtroom, act like that, and expect to get away with it. No chance. Didn't I say this guy was in for a rude awakening?
Right.
Don't distract her from hearing the testimony that Miss James is going to tell about what you were talking about to her when she was already pregnant and the way you was lying back and forth so that you could keep having sex with 2 women and then get 2 women pregnant potentially at the same time.
What kind of mind-boggling relationships are people even having these days? I miss the simpler times. But let's move on. If even the judge couldn't make sense of this mess, what hope did we have?
Had sex with 2 different men.
Right.
How are you so certain it's Mr. Hammond's baby? It's really now, we at a 50-50 split right now.
He's old. His sperm is not strong.
Oh, the other man is an older man.
Yeah.
How old?
60.
This whole thing was going in circles. On the bright side, at least Judge Lake got a moment to sip some water. Staying hydrated is essential when dealing with this level of courtroom madness.
Asked her, is that Chris's baby? She said, no, that's not his baby. I don't want nothing to do with you guys. And you guys could have a happy life and I have nothing else to say to you guys.
I did tell her that.
She did say that and we blocked each other.
Why is it any of her business, period? My
I'm the
baby,
fiance.
him, he don't have nothing to do.
It is my business.
Hey, let's get some order. I'm done with this.
That must have been one massive rock the fiancé was living under. She had no clue Mr. Hammond was running wild behind her back. Where was the love? Where was the respect?
I am not going to be able to change this dynamic between the 2 of you.
Right.
I can't change that.
Right.
It's a chemistry I don't even think you guys understand. Really. Because you keep calling, she keeps coming.
School was officially in session for the engaged couple and the scorned woman. If anyone needed a reality check, it was them. And who better to teach the lesson than Judge Lake?
You all are in a cycle. I can see the exchange in the courtroom.
No,
you
the
just
cycle
need a
is
capital D
being
for
broken.
denial
You're
on your
after
chest.
It's gonna be
You
broken.
are in denial because you get yourself so worked up that it's all gonna be Miss James' fault and she wants him and she's doing this. But at the end of the day, this is very real.
We finally arrived at the moment of truth. The only thing left was the DNA test. One final answer to settle the paternity question once and for all. Let's hear the result.
You are not the father.
That's fine.
You are not the father.
Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. The rock being the husband and the hard place being the lover. That was exactly Miss Johnson's predicament when the plaintiff dragged her to court, claiming baby Bry was his.
Argue that Mr. Johnson is forcing his wife to keep the child from you.
Yes, ma'am.
You believe 4-year-old Briley is your daughter.
I do.
That mindset led Miss Johnson to throw caution to the wind, and the rest, as they say, was history. Mr. Anderson was convinced the child was his, but standing in his way was one major problem.
Your position was your husband left you to go be with another woman. Now, is that the reason you were separated or this happened during the separation?
That happened before the separation. Mr. Anderson, he always treated me like queen. We had instant connection.
You were with another woman.
But Your Honor, she left me to go back to him.
The baby mama accused the defendant of lying, and naturally he wasn't happy about it. What a mess. Who was telling the truth and who was making a fool out of everyone?
Really, at that time, yeah, I was cool with it because, like I said, I got a family, and I was cool with it for a minute,
For a minute.
Yeah, I was cool with it. I was cool, but then after Briley.
What is he lying about specifically?
Well, about us still talking. I was
Are
pregnant.
you saying that because you don't want Brad to know we still talk?
I'm saying that because that's true.
These people couldn't even stick to one claim, let alone one partner. It was an endless cycle of finger-pointing and drama. Shame, shame. Where was the honesty?
You said you were cool with that, and you just stepped back because you had a family.
When I heard that she was here in this world, then I had a change of heart. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call and check on her and see how she doing.
Were you calling out of duty or were you calling out of curiosity, like I want to see this baby and see if it looks like me?
I want to see the baby.
You want to see the baby?
Yes, ma'am.
Even though Mr. Anderson had his older son as a witness to back up his claim, the baby mama stood her ground. She refused to admit anything, even if it meant being painted as a bad mother.
Are you suggesting to me that your child was over his house with his family at a Christmas function and you didn't know about it?
Knowledge.
You didn't know about it.
She served them all a generous dose of truth, and it was time for some serious parenting lessons. This situation had spiraled far enough.
I'm trying to understand what day of the week is your child over at another man's Christmas function that neither one of you all are saying you know.
That's because it ain't his child, because he ain't served with her. He just sleeps there. He don't do nothing with her.
The judge was ready for the results, and frankly, so were we. There had been no solid proof so far, and in paternity court, only one thing mattered: DNA results.
Her biological father is Mr. Anderson.
Your Honor, may I see my little sister? May I see my little sister?
The husband and the lover looked like they were about to turn the courtroom into their personal battleground, but Judge Lauren Lake wasn't having any of it.
2 men are willing to step up to the plate and make sure she has father that she needs and deserves. However, this is her biological father. This is the man she understands is her daddy. Are you prepared to figure this out for her? Are you just saying you want Mr. Anderson to just walk away? Because I hate to tell you, I don't think he's walking.
I think he will.
Miss Barrett was in desperate need of a father for her unborn child. The problem? She had no idea who the father was. Meanwhile, the defendant refused to accept any claims against him.
You believe Mr. Mullinex is also responsible for these expenses because he may be the father. Mr. Mullinex, you say you refuse to pay anything for an unborn child that isn't yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
You deny paternity and claim Ms. Barrett had sex with you, her ex-boyfriend, and several other men.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, this baby mama really took weekly planning to a whole new level. She had her hands full, no doubt. But hey, got to give credit where it's due. She stuck to her schedule with impressive dedication.
I was sleeping with Mr. Mullinex Thursday through Monday, and sleeping with my ex-boyfriend roughly Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
On a weekly schedule?
Yes.
Real question was, how did this love triangle even happen? Turns out Mr. Mullinex wasn't exactly a saint either. As soon as he stepped out of his ex-wife's bed, bam, he landed straight into Miss Barrett's.
I walked in and he introduced me to her, and I could tell from the first statement she made that she was a complete airhead. He took me in the back bedroom.
Wait a minute. You're talking about Ms. Barrett?
Yes, ma'am.
How did this progress? And you're married?
Well, me and my wife separated, and after we separated, that's when I began my relationship with her.
Okay.
I went over to her house. The first time I went over there, within 20 minutes, we were in the bedroom.
Miss Barrett had quite the reputation around town, according to the alleged baby daddy. A busy woman indeed, judging by her packed schedule. However, she denied every accusation thrown her way.
He was good at things like that. I mean, that's pretty much what led me to believe that it'd be easy.
I need you to use respectful language in the courtroom. But Ms. Barrett,
I apologize.
were you getting text messages from multiple men asking you for sexual favors and encounter?
No,
like that?
no, it was not. It was not sexual encounter.
Out came the good old conception calendar, and would you look at that? What a perfectly symmetrical timeline. It was clear Miss Barrett was about to get hit with some harsh truths from the judge.
Just a month ago, he was telling me that we were going to be together and that we were going to be a family. And just last week, we just had sex last week, and he was telling me that he wanted to be a family.
No, that's not true.
Yes.
A month ago, I went to her house. I got drunk. I made a mistake. I went over there. And yeah, we ended up having sex.
No.
I mean, I told her what she wanted to hear just to get what I wanted, but I do not want to be.
Wait a minute!
Was the baby mama just incredibly naive, or was she simply insatiable? Hard to tell. Moments like these made us question everything. It's easy to create a mess, but cleaning it up?
Why is it the exact same days each week and then the weekend?
Mr. Mullinex had a job time, so therefore he would come over on the weekends and leave on Monday nights.
So then you'd be with
my boyfriend.
And where would your boyfriend think you were on the weekend?
He wasn't around. He was just out hanging out with his friends and stuff like that.
And this went on for an entire month?
Yeah.
Mr. Mullinex didn't come alone. His girlfriend was right there beside him, supporting him, while poor Miss Barrett stood alone, pregnant and abandoned. A heartbreaking sight.
She's really just another notch in his belt. Like, she's nobody
Well, I mean,
special.
look, you don't know what goes on between our relationship. For the past 6 months, I don't care what you're saying. You need to let me speak for a second.
Okay, and you know the for a fact he's been over at the house. Do you not?
Okay, let's get some order.
Caught between his girlfriend and his lover, Mr. Mullinex suddenly went silent. That didn't sit well with the judge, who immediately called him out. After creating all this chaos, he didn't get to play the quiet card now.
We did not have sex a week ago. It's been a month ago, and I was drunk when it happened. I mean, that's a mistake I made
And
when I
that's
was
to say that
drinking.
I'm
You know,
the
I know
only
there's no
person.
excuse for what I did. I mean, the truth comes out no matter what. But the fact of the matter is, I do not want to be with her. I told her what she wanted to do.
And Miss Barrett, are you saying that he did tell you that you all were going to be together?
Yes, he did.
When the judge gets mad, you'd better watch out. But when she's both mad and disappointed, you're in real trouble. That's exactly what Miss Barrett brought out of her.
You have given yourself away. You stand at this podium by yourself, going to doctor's appointments by yourself, after you done gave away a month's worth of days and nights with 2 men that are not, will not, or cannot not be a part of it and share it with you?
Seriously, man, this so-called baby daddy just couldn't resist the pull of this woman. He claimed he wanted nothing to do with Miss Barrett, yet somehow he always ended up back at her doorstep.
After an entire month of Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays, and last month's slip-up, suddenly now last week you went over there and just went over there to talk.
Yes, ma'am.
One after another, this case took a truly messy turn. By the time the proceedings neared their end, everyone was just relieved. A baby's future was at stake. A baby that hadn't even been born yet.
Mr. Mullinack, you are the father.
But whether he'd actually step up, that was still a mystery. As he stood there, stunned by the results, he seemed to forget one crucial thing. He had a woman carrying his child. Judge Lake wasted no time putting him in his place.
At least see if she's okay and she's carrying your child over there crying. Step over there. Now, she's been by herself. She done stood up here by herself. She has admitted her secrets, her shame, and basically told more than most women in this world would ever admit to.
Miss Hull couldn't decide who she wanted as a life partner, which led her to more than one bed. And now, paternity dilemma. The plaintiff was here for real answers.
Mr. Elliott, you say you do not believe you are the father of Ms. Hall's son because at the time he was conceived, Ms. Hall was in a relationship with another man and later gave her child his last name.
Yes, ma'am.
The baby mama was involved with just one guy. Then, along came Mr. Elliott, and suddenly, all caution was thrown out the window. A full-blown love affair with both men? You've got to see this to believe it.
After about 8 years, they started fighting and stuff a lot, and she came to me one day after they split up, and we started talking, and that's how it started from there. And the doubts about Noah is that when we started talking, we started to get together, and we wanted the relationship. Well, after we'd get into an argument and fight, she'd go back to his house every time.
Miss Hull just couldn't settle on one man. Talk about being indecisive. I struggled to decide what to eat, but she was out here facing an actual life-altering choice.
I love them both. It was hard. One gave me great sex. The other one gave me a great relationship and the support I needed for my kids. I needed it all from him, and then Max also couldn't give me that. The other guy.
I wasn't really financially stable at the time. That's how I feel like she really went back to him every time because his family is well off. I was poor growing up.
Growing up poor, she tried to justify going back to her ex. Yikes. Judge Lake had heard enough of her excuses, and the plaintiff was done too.
I gotta get to this pushing part because what is it about the arguing or what he's doing that's pushing you? I mean, it sounds like it's just an excuse.
No, it's not an excuse, Your Honor. I can't be with a guy that's going to argue with me.
Well, I don't think you can.
Meanwhile, poor Mr. Elliott thought they were about to become a happy family now that a baby was in the picture. But that was just wishful thinking, because as it turned out...
And so at what point did you then decide that Noah was Max's son?
I slept with both of them in the same week. Monday I slept with one, and then Friday I slept with another.
Say about 3 months into the pregnancy, she
I
broke
was
up.
confused. I didn't know who the father was.
Stay tuned for yet another mind-numbing confession from the baby mama. Seriously, someone needed to teach her a lesson about loyalty and commitment.
When's the last time you were with your ex?
About a month ago.
She told me she wasn't.
And I
she
could
hasn't
be
been with
pregnant again. So I also could be pregnant again in the same situation that I'm in now, where both guys could be the dad.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I believe Judge Lake had finally reached her limit with this defendant, unsurprisingly so. Miss Hull had turned her relationships into a seesaw ride and was well on her way to doing the same with mothers.
The issue is, Ms. Hall, is when you begin to bring children into the world. Children. It's not just you riding the seesaw anymore. They're on the seesaw, and that's not fair for a child.
I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted at the time.
So far, the ex had only proven himself useful in one thing, this whole cheating disaster. But now, we learned that he wasn't just bad at relationships.
He wants to be around him when it's good for him, but when it's good for me, he don't want to part with Noah. When I was with him last time, he told me I could either make my son shut up or he would. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to be with no guy that's going to tell me to make my son shut up. I'm not.
There's no reason to talk to any child like that.
Some people don't know when to stay quiet, especially in front of Judge Lane. When you say things like that in paternity court, you better believe you're about to get served. And Miss Hull...
He could have found a ride up there. I'm sorry, but if I was a guy and I wanted to see my baby so bad, I'd make sure I was there.
But if you're a guy who's not sure if the baby is yours and the other guy that your girlfriend runs back to all the time is there and he decided to sign the birth certificate and your girl told the other guy that the baby was theirs, maybe you might just stay home.
Miss Hull had played this seesaw game for far too long, and the list of players just kept growing. But it all led nowhere. It was time to put an end to the chaos and reveal the truth. Did baby Noah have a real family or not? Let's hear the results.
When it comes to 10-month-old Noah Groom, Mr. Elliott, you are not Noah's father.
If you enjoyed the story and want to hear more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Your support means a lot.
It's not just daughter. I always had that passion that she was my daughter. And I always wanted her to know that. And I always wanted to know that for sure myself, because I always believed it.
One major reason why people find themselves in paternity court is to discover to what extent their partners have lied to them. Instead of telling the truth, most people would rather keep a secret, and it turns into a big mess. These are some of these situations. Ms. Ames is in the courtroom because she is torn between the two men standing in court today. She says that the defendant, Mr. Patton, raised her entire life believing that he was her father, but now Mr. Garcia is suing to prove he is her biological father. Mr. Garcia, on the other hand, says that he has searched for his daughter for more than 25 years, and today he hopes that the DNA test will prove to Mr. Patton that Ms. Ames is his daughter. Mr. Patton also states that he only learned about a year ago that after paying more than $40,000 in child support, Mr. Garcia was claiming that Ms. Ames was his daughter. Phew. The case starts like this.
Take you back. My mother died when I was 13 years old. Never told me that there was a possibility of another man being my father whatsoever. When I was 21 years old, another relative of mine decided to tell me, well, there's a possibility that your dad isn't your dad, that another man is your father.
That must have been very difficult. I can't even imagine how she must have felt. Now, the case began with Mr. Garcia telling the judge that he has been looking for Ms. Ames for a while. He finally found her on Facebook, connected, and they eventually started to build a bond. Ms. Ames then started her own side of the story by saying that her mother died about 13 years ago. But before she died, she never mentioned to her that there was a possibility of another man being her father. It was when she was 21 years old that another relative of hers decided to tell her that she could have another man as her father. Funny enough, Ms. Ames believes that she looks like Mr. Garcia and his family members.
And we went out to my mother's graveyard because he didn't know anything of my mother passing because he was so far away. And he was supposed to go back to Florida, and he stayed an extra 2 weeks because he wanted to meet my daughter. I'm torn. I have 2 kids, and I want my kids to know who their grandparents are.
Wow. You can see that these results from today's case are very important to Ms. Ames. She has no idea who her biological father is, and she wants her kids to grow up knowing who to call grandpa. What's more important is that she wants to trace her bloodline so a situation where her kids go on to date their cousins without them knowing does not happen. Believe me, if something like that actually happened, it would be devastating. If only her mother were alive to tell her side of the story. Things won't be as hectic as they are right now.
You thought you had a daughter somewhere out there?
Yes, Your Honor. From the time she was born, I had always believed she was my daughter.
And so, Ms. Ames, did you tell your father, the man you believe is your father your whole life, that's what you thought, Mr. Patton, did you tell him about the meeting when you met up with Mr. Garcia?
No.
Damn. How do you say that to a daughter you love? That just made me raise my eyebrows. Or could it be that he actually knew he was not the father all along? Ms. Ames initially told the judge that her relationship with Mr. Patton was quite rocky. She said that they didn't always agree on a lot of things, and there were times when he would be present in her life, and there were also times when he was nowhere to be found. What really put her off was when she was having an argument with Mr. Patton, and he told her to go and find her real father. That sentence just never left her head after he said it.
But I had always believed in my heart that I was the father.
When you said made you believe?
Because the timeline when she told me she was pregnant was after we were together. But after Mrs. Ames was born, the timeline didn't add up.
She had given you a certain date or how many months she was or whatever.
Yes.
And then when Ms. Ames was actually born, in your mind, you said to yourself, what she told me didn't add up. This could be my baby.
That's correct.
You can honestly tell that Mr. Patine is actually a good father. Aside from the fact that his child support fees are paid in full, he has pretty much been there to do everything for Ms. Ames. Now Mr. Garcia tells the judge that Ms. Ames's mother broke up with him after she got pregnant, and she made him believe that Mr. Patine was the father by giving him wrong dates of conception. It was when Ms. Ames was born that he did the math and realized that there was a chance that Ms. Ames could actually be his daughter, and not Mr. Patton's.
You mentioned earlier you dated her mom in high school.
Yes.
Did you know anything about Mr. Patton? Because he seems to have been in her life consistently, very present and visible.
Yes, he was there the whole time. He lived right down the street from her when we met.
Did you know he was dating her mother too?
No, she said they were broken up at that time, but he was always there, you know, trying to get her back and giving me a hard time all the times.
I would honestly give anything to have Ms. Ames's mother in court right now. She has so many questions to answer. Mr. Garcia explained that he was well aware of Mr. Patton being around, because at the time he was trying to win Ms. Ames's mother's heart after they broke up. Mr. Patton, on the other hand, says that he also knew about Mr. Garcia, but when he asked Ms. Ames's mother about him, she told him that they were just friends, and nothing was actually going on. At least we now know that was a lie.
So you see that he truly is making an effort.
Yes, and his ex told me that he had told her that he had a daughter in New Jersey, and that my mom told him I wasn't his, but he always felt I was his daughter.
In this last year after meeting Mr. Garcia, who have you been calling dad? Is Mr. Patton still your dad, or do you believe
they're both my dad? But I'll work on building a relationship with Mr. Garcia, because if he is my dad,
I guess that's just how it's going to be. It's already too late to pick sides. Ms. Ames tells the judge that she sees both men as her fathers, and regardless of whatever the results show, she is always going to have a relationship and build a bond with Mr. Garcia. Her kids already know Mr. Patton as their granddad, and she doesn't want them having to pick between him and Mr. Garcia. Well, let's settle this drama that's been filled with so many ups and downs. The results are ready, and here is Judge Lauren's verdict.
Her biological father is Mr. Garcia. Are you okay, Ms. Ames? You happy to finally know?
Yes. I'm still her father, and I'm always going to be her father.
Mrs. McDowell says that she has no doubt that her 1-month-old daughter Annabelle belongs to her husband because she claims that she only had sex with him during the window of conception. The defendant, Mr. McDowell, the husband, says that his wife is nothing but a cheat. He believes that the man who she left him for, Mr. Alfred, is actually her daughter's biological father. He goes on to make it clear that once the results of the DNA test prove that her daughter is not his, he is out of the marriage for good. I wonder how their marriage turned into this. Oh well, the case begins like this.
She just one day told me she was going to go to her friend, a female friend's house, and spend a few hours.
Your Honor, that's not true.
And then she called me later that night and said she was going to end up spending the night. Well, the next day, the female friend she went to go spend the night with called me and said she walked into the home and caught her, Miss McDowell, and her boyfriend on the couch cuddling.
What? Let's just pretend like we did not just hear that. The case starts off with Mr. McDowell explaining to the judge that his wife told him that she was going to spend the night at a friend's place. Shortly after she left the house, the supposed friend calls Mr. McDowell and tells him that she saw his wife cuddled up on the floor with another guy. Mrs. McDowell, in her defense, says that it's a lie, and she and her husband had been drinking with the friend in question. She even says that Mr. McDowell told her that it was okay to sleep with the friend, but she told him that it was wrong. Does that even make sense?
The 27th is when you slept with your husband, Mr. McDowell.
Yes,
so
Your Honor.
you figured it was his child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because there was no one else you slept with
She
for
can
at least 2
determine
weeks.
that the baby was
Yes,
mine
Your
because
Honor.
I slept with her, allegedly slept with her a week before the next guy did.
Because you're saying you don't even remember that happened.
I mean, I will admit I allowed her to perform oral activities on me, but we did not physically do anything that could acquire a baby.
To be honest, we can all agree that their marriage had ended a long time ago. The child in question is probably the only thing keeping them together. Now, Mrs. McDowell presented a calendar showing that her husband was the only man she slept with during the window of conception. Her husband, however, said that he doesn't remember ever doing anything with Mrs. McDowell that would lead to her getting pregnant. He even went on to say that she is claiming he is the father, only so she can get child benefits, like clothes, food, money, and all of that.
Wanting food, she called me wanting money. I've done her and her boyfriend's laundry.
And I told her repeatedly not to do it, and she did it behind my back anyway.
I even give her and her boyfriend money to come and do stuff at my house just to earn money.
You knew it was her boyfriend, or you found out later?
No, I knew it was her boyfriend.
Mr. McDowell's mother really does not like Mrs. McDowell one bit. I can't even count the number of times she has insulted Mrs. McDowell since she walked into the podium. Her anger and hate come from the fact that she did so much for Mrs. McDowell, believing that the child she had belonged to her son. Mr. McDowell's mother does admit that she knew that she was messing with the other guy, but she only helped her because she thought she was the grandmother to her child. Clearly, that's not the case any longer.
You believe your baby Annabelle's biological father?
Personally, I don't believe me or Michael, either one or the father. I think it might be the gentleman that he was with before she tried to work things out with Michael.
What's interesting here is you say the baby's your husband says the baby's your lover, and your lover says the baby's by another.
Oh my goodness. Did Mrs. McDowell just say that she was sleeping with at least 4 different men, including Mrs. McDowell and Mr. Alfred? Wow, she must really love to move around. Judge Lauren finally brought in the other man she was sleeping with, and to everyone's surprise, he told the judge that he does not believe he is the father of her child, and he also does not believe that Mrs. McDowell is the father of the child either. Phew. Seems like Mrs. McDowell is all alone in this battlefield.
Sounds good to me. I'm signing up.
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
Considering he was there for the whole 9 months.
Oh, you didn't believe you were the child's biological father, but you were happy to be the child's legal father.
Well, we already have 3 kids
the simple
together.
fact is, the 3 children that they have together now, he likes to hold over her head. He refuses her visits.
This has to be the messiest situation I have ever seen on paternity court. Mr. Alfred confessed and said that he pretty much was aware that she was married to Mr. McDowell when they were sleeping together. He even says that the reason he signed the birth certificate was because Mr. McDowell always kept the other kids from her reach, and he did not like the way he kept hiding the kids over her head. The truth bombs never end with this case. He signed the birth certificate and now says he is not the father? Phew. Let's hope Mrs. McDowell learns after all this.
I was informed she was pregnant. She dropped all visits with the current 3 kids we have. She has not visited or anything for about 6 months now.
And what's interesting is, Ms. McDowell, you're saying the baby's your husband's, but you're in a relationship with Mr. Alfred.
Yes, Your Honor.
And he signed the birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
And he supported you through the birth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. McDowell must really hate herself right now. These men are not ready to show her any mercy. They both tell the judge that she is trying to see which of them men is going to take her in and support her. That's why she doesn't know and wants to say who she really thinks the father of the child is. At this point, I think we've seen and heard just about enough. The results are ready and it's time to get down to the truth. Who is going to be the father of her child?
Mr. Alfred, you are her father.
Thank God.
Ms. Ham is in court today to prove to Mr. Kinder that he is the father of her 11-month-old son, Zayden. She is joined by her mother in court, who says that she's tired of stepping up to play daddy whenever Mr. Kisner decides to run out of their lives. Now, the defendant, Mr. Kisner, says that he has given everything up to be with Ms. Ham, but he now claims that her promiscuous and foggy past has caused him to doubt that he is the father of her son. This is how they open their case in the courtroom.
But I'm trying my best to be there for Zayden, just doing everything I can to just live where I'm living right now, and I am so grateful.
And you seem emotional right now. What are you feeling?
Well, Your Honor, I betrayed my family. My family spent $200 for me to get back home.
Well, Mr. Kisner must really love what his family thinks about him. The case starts off with Ms. Ham telling the judge that Mr. Kisner is actually present at the moment, but he doesn't do as much as she would like him to do as a father. Mr. Kisner says that he is trying his best, but for him, things are just not at their best. He does what he can and is grateful for where he is at the moment. Another thing he mentions is that he feels like he betrayed his family because they don't believe he is the father of the child, and the fact that he feels like he betrayed them eats him up every day.
We were dating for a couple weeks, and his friend had broken up with my friend. He just wasn't there for me at the time. I felt like we were both partying and he wasn't talking as much.
So you weren't really getting along with Mr. Kisner that well?
No.
You felt like he wasn't stepping up to the plate as a boyfriend or doing what you need?
I find it funny that he still wants to be with someone who cheated on him with one of his close friends. Is he not scared that she might do it again? Shoo! The good part is that Ms. Ham actually told him about the whole thing. She explained to the judge that at the time, she was not on good terms with Mr. Kisner, and Mr. Kisner's close friend had just ended things with her own friend. Being that they were both lonely, they decided to book a hotel and proceed to kick it in bed with each other. Like I said, it's a good thing she felt bad about the situation and decided to tell Mr. Kisner about it. Maybe that's why he wanted to work things out with her.
I know what I did, and I told him exactly what happened the next day.
They are both in my home right now, and I believe that Mr. Kisner is insecure, and she is also insecure. They're very young. They're playing house. With these results, that's why we need this.
Ha ha, there's no lie in that. It's the real world now, and they have to face the consequences of their actions. Ms. Ham's mother told the judge that she knows that they care about each other, but they just happen to be two very insecure individuals. In her words, they are very young and playing house. Judge Lauren took it up from there and told her that they have the opportunity to play house because she's given them the house to play in. Like Judge Lauren always says, young people have no business engaging in activities that will produce people they can't take care of.
Have been raising her together since she was 3 months old. So she is his, not biologically, but in any way that counts. So they have to make a choice. If they are going to put that in the past and be a family and move on positively, or if he is going to throw that in her face that Zayden is not his.
Well, at least we know that Ms. Ham's mother thinks that Mr. Kisner is a nice guy. She also believes that he is the father of her daughter's child because the baby looks like him a lot. She went on to explain that Ms. Ham's biological father was never in her life, and it's been she and her husband who raised her and made her the woman she is today. She also states that never in her 13 years of raising her child has her husband ever denied being her father. All she really wants today is for Mr. Kisner to make a choice, either to be with her or to deny her daughter's child.
Supporting this family, okay? I am taking away from my younger children to support this family, okay?
And Your Honor.
And they need
And you know what the truth is, Ms. Willen, I really don't know why you're doing it because I've been asking Mr. Kisner, why does he doubt that this child is his, and you have not given me one reason.
A condom.
I think we can now understand why Ms. Ham's mother said that Mr. Kisner was an insecure man. Mr. Kisner tells the judge that the reason he doubts he is the father of the child is because Ms. Ham would usually disappear on him. She would go places without telling him where she was going. Even when she got back from those places, he would ask her, and the stories she would tell him just wouldn't add up. Funny enough, he has actually never caught her cheating except the one time she told him that she slept with his close friend. In his mind, he thought she was cheating on him again, and the whole thing just made him doubt the baby.
Was talking to somebody else and it was saved in her pictures. I don't know if she knew or not, but she would be talking about she's got booty for decades to this other male.
You would see in her phone evidence of sexual conversations she was having with other men.
At this point, I'm pretty sure Judge Lauren is tired of having to ask him if there's any other thing he has that can prove that Ms. Ham actually cheated on him again. All he keeps saying is that he went through her phone and found evidence that she was texting and flirting with other guys. Aside from that, he pretty much does not have anything to show that Ms. Ham actually cheated on him. Oh well, that's enough from these two. The results just came in and I think it's time we put this case to rest. Shall we? Here are the results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kisner, you are not the father.
Mr. Maxson is in court today to testify that the defendant, Ms. Gearing, is doing what she does best. By what she does best, he means pinning babies on innocent men. Yes, you heard that right. He believes he is not the father of her child and wants to clear his name in court today. This is how the case begins.
Then you testify that you had to open your case today because the defendant is doing what she does best, pinning babies on innocent men.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say she is now seeking financial help from your mother.
I can't believe that Mr. Maxson says that she likes to pin babies on innocent men. I mean, is it something she has done before? I guess we're going to find out. Ms. Gearing, however, believes that Mr. Maxson is the father of her child. That's actually crazy. Mr. Maxson says that he found out about the child after Ms. Gearing had given birth. She went as far as reaching out to his mother instead of contacting Mr. Maxson himself. That just sounds very suspicious.
He was in Las Vegas with another woman. I thought he was going for music. I contacted Trinidad and I told him I was pregnant. He said he wanted to come back. I sent him some money, $250 to be exact.
I love when truth bombs just drop in the courtroom. I bet no one saw that coming. Ms. Gearing says that Mr. Maxson's mother accepted the baby and told Ms. Gearing that her child was her grandchild when she saw the child for the very first time. Mr. Maxson's mother, of course, says that it's a lie and it never happened, and that just sounds like a flimsy excuse. Ms. Gearing says that she refused to have a DNA test done because she was going through a lot at the time, and she didn't see any point in doing the test since Mr. Maxson was not around for the child's birth. That doesn't even make any sense.
I went back to Mississippi with my grandmother, and I did contact him first on Facebook, and it just kicked off from there. And then he moved back here to Atlanta, so I came back, and he was at my house.
So you knew each other before?
Yes, we been knew each other.
Let's just say they couldn't wait to rip each other's clothes off. Ms. Gearing explains that they never had any romantic relationship. She texted him on Facebook. One thing led to another, and they ended up kicking it in bed in her grandmother's house. Imagine that? Gearing knows how to be very sneaky. Mr. Maxson tells the judge that she was in a relationship while they had their sexual relationship. There were even times when her boyfriend would call and she would tell Mr. Maxson to keep quiet so she could talk to him.
It's really not about him being a dummy. It's really about his doubt.
We wasn't a couple. We was just, we'll kick it every now and then.
Having sex unprotected, basically.
It was, and that's a lie too, Your Honor.
Oh, come on. He can't be serious with what he just said. He said that whenever they had sex, he used condoms. The only way she could have gotten pregnant is if she injected herself with his sperm after they were done having sex. I mean, is that even possible? Wow. Looks like Mr. Maxson's mother might be onto something. She says that all her son's other kids have asthma, and for some reason the child in question looks nothing like her son, and also doesn't have asthma. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that Ms. Gearing said they never used protection.
When do I call you, Jasmine?
You haven't reached out.
You always reach.
I would like to see that. Here you go.
You.
In January of 2016, I asked him, can you at least see how your child is doing? He texted me 2 months later, asked for a favor to borrow some money, and I told him no.
Am I glad the judge put an end to their yelling? It seems like the battle is between Ms. Gearing and Mr. Maxson's mother. They look like they are ready to beat each other up. Well, Ms. Gearing says that she just wants Mr. Maxson to step up and be there for her child. Maybe Mr. Maxson is a deadbeat father after all. Ms. Gearing presented evidence that shows that Mr. Maxson did ask her for money, ignoring the message where she said he could check on her daughter. Seems to me like he really doesn't want anything to do with the child.
What have you done for Alana?
Nothing.
Nothing. I asked her for a blood test, a DNA test. She refused.
Okay, well, we're about to see right now. We're going to see what you're going to do after you find out that she's yours.
Hold on. Mr. Maxson, I want to understand.
I really wonder what he is going to do if it turns out that the baby actually belongs to him. Mr. Maxson tells the judge that he hasn't done anything for the baby because he doesn't believe he is the father. And when he asked for a DNA test, Ms. Gearing didn't agree. Even Judge Lauren seems to be very confused at this point. We can all agree that we've seen enough of their mess. It's time to see the results and find out who has been telling the truth all along. Here comes the judge's verdict.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Maxson, you are the father. Mr. McCray, until she was 10 months old, you were her
father.
Father.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about that.
I changed her, I played with her, I fed her, and I just missed that. I want something that's my own.
Mr. McRae is not playing around today. He's standing firm, swearing up and down that this baby is his, and he is not here for Ms. Moore suddenly flipping the script and shutting him out. But Ms. Moore, oh, she is not budging. She's drawing the line in the sand, declaring that the child belongs to her husband and her husband only. The tension? Palpable. The drama? Off the charts. Somebody pass the snacks. This is getting good.
When she was pregnant and she told me she was pregnant, I just looked in shock like, what? Really?
Well, were you having sex?
Oh, yeah.
Were you using protection?
Nah.
Well, then why were you so shocked?
Because I was told I was able to have children.
I mean, seriously? Either Mr. McRae has a second career as a novelist, or these two just refuse to see eye to eye on anything. This entire situation is a train wreck. And now they're hauling the debris straight into paternity court. So what's the truth? Is Mr. McRae spinning a wild tale, or does he actually have a point? Because right now it's feeling less like a paternity case and more like a plot twist waiting to happen.
At the time you signed this, you had no doubt you were the biological father?
I had no doubt.
So, Ms. Moore, why is his name listed as the legal father on her birth certificate if you say you knew he was not the biological father?
Because I was drugged up in the hospital, he had signed the paper.
Wait a minute. This man truly believes he can't have kids, yet he's out here fighting tooth and nail for this baby like his whole future depends on it? Someone, please connect the dots for me. Is this about proving a point? A deep-rooted need to be a dad? Or is there some crucial detail we're all missing? And let's be real. At this point, do these two even agree on what day it is? Because all I'm seeing is pure, unfiltered chaos.
You cut the umbilical cord?
Yes.
Yeah, he cut it, but he was sitting on his side.
But wait a minute, Ms. Moore. Now, hold on. Because I know, wait a minute, I've been a mother in a hospital. Now, if this is not your husband, you weren't married to him, right? And you say you didn't believe he was the biological father of this child. He said he wasn't leaving unless a body bag took him out or security.
Right.
Oh, Ms. Moore, honey, this is not looking good for you. You mean to tell me this man was by your side, taking care of you, present at the hospital, and even in the delivery room. But now you're out here claiming he has nothing to do with the baby? Meanwhile, where was your actual husband during all of this? Because right now, the optics are not working in your favor.
And it looks like she's doing the airplane with her daddy. And
she threw up on me after that.
That is definitely a consequence of the airplane that daddies often learn. But this is a beautiful picture.
Thank you.
Now, Ms. Moore, at this time, when this picture was taken, had you told Mr. McRae that DeMiracle was not his biological child?
Yeah, I told him he still wasn't leaving. He said he had a bond, but he just wanted to be with me, and I do not want to be with him.
Exactly. If Mr. McRae wasn't supposed to be involved, then why was he front and center for the birth? Cutting umbilical cords, playing the doting father, he was all in. And yet, Ms. Moore keeps insisting she didn't want him there. Girl, make it make sense. So where was her husband during all this? Off running errands? Taking a personal day? The math is just not adding up.
After she kicked me out, she moved the other guy in the day of, she kicked me out.
Not the very next day, and the other guy is my husband, and I knew since I was 5 years old.
I've never seen his face until I got kicked out.
Oh, now this is rich. Ms. Moore is out here acting like Mr. McRae pulled off some covert Mission Impossible break-in just to snap pictures of himself with the baby? Ma'am, be serious. If you really didn't want those photos to exist, they wouldn't exist. And of course, these two have completely opposite versions of what happened. Because at this point, why would they agree on anything? Predictable, yet still completely messy.
He broke up with the other girl.
Right.
And then you all resumed
our kindle our relationship back.
And it is your testimony that it's during that window of time when DeMiracle was conceived.
Right.
How old was DeMiracle when Mr. Moore, when your husband broke up with the other girl?
3 months.
Wow. So she and her husband were both together and then they were not. Then they were together and now there's a baby? Isn't that just precious? So she does not know who the father of the baby is now. Even Mr. McRae admits that that is one hell of a messy situation. Poor man, he got involved in these two's business. Extremely nasty business, mind you.
Because I know for a fact, I know, everyone was telling me, people that didn't know me, that people that did know me. Man, I don't care what y'all think, because y'all wasn't there when I was there. You don't know what I was going through, so I'm gonna believe what I believe.
I mean, when you cut a child's umbilical cord, when you are there at the birth of a child and you think that child is yours, you formed a bond. Whether anybody likes it or not, you formed a bond.
Because when the baby was born, I looked and was like, the baby came out of that?
Hold on. Run that back. So she kicked one man out just to bring another one in? Let me get this straight. She had a whole boyfriend living with her, gave him the best boot, and then slid her husband right into place like it was nothing? And now she's trying to act like this is just everyday behavior? Oh, please. Married or not, that's some Olympic level cheating, and everybody knows it.
Mr. Moore, what would you like to add?
If I write my name, okay, my biological name on the certificate. Now, mind you, you said it's supposed to be a mutual agreement, right? I wake up from being on anesthesia, and then I see a whole another man's name, aside from just the fact that the last name that I want her to have of mine on this piece of paper.
Oh, this poor man. Whether or not this baby is his, Mr. McRae truly believes it is, and you can't help but feel for him. Ms. Moore led him to believe he was the father, had him in the delivery room, cutting cords, signing birth certificates, and now she's acting like he just made it all up? That's just cold. This man was all in, and now she's flipping the script like none of it ever happened? Oh, come on. Let's even see the results.
The biological father is Mr. Moore. He is the biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you accept that?
I can accept it. It hurts.
I know.
I gotta move on. She's still pretty to me.
Of course she is.
Because I was in foster care. I didn't know my father. I don't even know my dad. He walked in this room right now. And for her to be confused and not knowing who her dad is, and me being there, getting that bond with her.
Oh, now we're talking. Judge Lake has had enough of the back and forth, and she is coming for Ms. Moore with receipts. That whole sob story about how Mr. McRae was never in her life and never involved? Yeah, that's looking real shaky right now. Girl, who do you think you're fooling? But enough of the theatrics. It's time for real life. All we can do is hope that this cheating wife has learned some lessons today.
Find the legal resolution that will serve DeMiracle. So, Mr. McRae, I'm sorry this day did not go the way you had hoped. With this child, you broke a generational curse.
Ms. Prowl, $75 in back child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Should one of three be identified as your baby's biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Morton is asking the court to grant her $475 in unpaid childcare expenses, but only if one of three men is confirmed as the father of her baby. Among the potential candidates, Ms. Prowl is already washing his hands of the situation. He argues that with so many possible fathers in the picture, the chances of him being the one are far too slim.
In this situation, I was under the impression that was, me and her pretty much against the world. I've come to find out that she's slept around with one guy, then another guy. I'm just perplexed about the situation. I don't know who the father is of this child. This is why I'm here.
Let me first hear how you met and how did you all get in a relationship?
There were about maybe a month or two before I started working there.
So Mr. Morton and Ms. Prowl were an item, all fine and dandy, until Ms. Prowl found out she wasn't exactly exclusive. Now, if she had kept it faithful, he wouldn't even be questioning whether little Ethan was his. But surprise, surprise. Turns out she had quite the social calendar, and now paternity is a guessing game. Time to hear how Mr. Morton spins this one.
The relationship was going wonderful. Now, a couple of months in, I'm finding out there's another...
What evidence do you have of that?
On his Twitter account. He's talking to a young lady that I can't say in
Sexual
court.
Things.
Yes.
Ah, yes, the classic revenge cheating move. When will people realize this never actually works? She thought he was cheating, so she decided to get even by doing the same thing. Fast forward, and now there's a baby in the mix, and nobody knows who the father is. I mean, at what point do we stop and admit this was a terrible plan?
He was going to hand me the bag of bread. Before he did so, involved with Miss Prowl. Now, I told him, yes, we wasn't very, very serious. Well, he was like, well, I hope you don't...
But you're listening to other people, though. You're listening to other people.
I hope you don't get too serious with her.
He doesn't,
because I have already slept with her.
He doesn't even know this person. He doesn't. Someone else just comes up to him, and I'm not going to lie, it is true.
Now this is funny. She's mad that Ms. Prowl believed the rumor that she was cheating, but she literally just confirmed that it was true. So what exactly is the issue here, ma'am? The bottom line is, she was messing around with this Mr. Gaddis character, and that's all there is to it. Trying to flip the script now? Nice try, but the math still isn't mathing.
We ended up hooking up again after that, and seeing her walking around at the job, you know, good in a little outfit. Didn't know she was in a relationship. So, I don't think I'm the father. Only messed around a few times. Didn't hear from her for months after that. Pregnant until Desmond told me in passing.
Wow. Mr. Morton really has a gift for keeping men in the dark. Mr. Gaddis, another potential father, is completely washing his hands of this situation. He had a little fling with her ages ago. Assumed it was a long-gone memory, and now she's popping up with a baby? Yeah, he's checked out. In his mind, that chapter closed a long time ago.
Mr. Laurie, we also met, and I do want to say for the record, I'm very remorseful for what that was totally out of spite. That's what it was. Because I found out he was messing around. Excuse me. So I said, okay, you know, you didn't put a ring on my finger to other people. Fine, I can do the same thing.
So let me get this straight. She was drunk when things happened with Mr. Gaddis, but when it came to Mr. Lowry, she was fully aware and did it on purpose? Oh, and the reason? Pure spite. I mean, as Judge Lauren just pointed out, at what point do we acknowledge that 3 wrongs will never make a right? This is just a mess.
My problem with this is, if you knew we had sex more than once, why wasn't I hit up for this? Like, why weren't I called?
Can I say something, Your Honor?
I'm talking now.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Never. No calls, no texts, because I switched jobs. How we met at a party. We drinking, we go back in the room. Of course, what happens? Teenagers. After all this goes down, you know, we go back to work. I'm thinking of it like, okay.
Does Mr. Morton genuinely think she's in the right here? Does she actually believe anyone is about to jump to her defense after everything she just admitted? If nothing else, at least Ms. Prowell had enough sense to keep his name off that birth certificate. But hey, I'll give him credit. He was there to hold her hand during labor, so that's something.
Has anybody been a part of the child's life?
How can I help
No, Your Honor.
if I didn't get a call about a child to begin with, though?
Him
About the
to be
kid.
the father. I didn't want him to know.
It doesn't matter.
Excuse
If that's
me,
my
I didn't
kid,
even
you
want.
should have to
I didn't
call
even
me
want
to let
Mr.
me
Morton
know.
to know.
I don't care if you don't want us to be together, because it's not like I even like you like that, but if that's my kid.
Now this is just laughable. She's out here debating who should be the father now, as if this is some kind of application process. Since when is knowing how to change a diaper the golden standard for fatherhood? Newsflash. Most people don't learn how to do it until they actually have a kid, but let's be real. She just doesn't like Mr. Lowry, and she's regretting ever getting involved with him. Maybe, just maybe, she should have thought about that sooner.
No one should hold it against this child.
But your point is you don't feel like any of the men truly stepped up. And that would be Mr. Gaddis and Mr. Morton, because Mr. Lowry didn't know.
If you ask me, I have been Ethan's other parent. The doctor's appointment.
She was also there.
She went in labor at my house.
Oh, so she and her neighbor really thought all these men would be lining up at her door, begging for the chance to play daddy to a baby that may or may not be theirs. Be so for real. That's not how this works. But hey, at least it's only been 6 weeks. Whoever the actual father is will have no choice but to step up from here.
He doesn't know if he's the father.
That's not obvious to you? How do you want money if we don't know?
I better hear you take some responsibility yourself for where you and your baby are today.
Whew. Mr. Morton definitely wasn't ready for that outburst from Judge Lauren, and honestly, neither were we. But enough of the talk. It's time to end this saga. Initially starting with 3 men, only one gets to be the father. After our long wait, it's time to finally get it on. The DNA results are in. Let's see who's actually on the hook for this baby.
The father is Mr. Morton. Are those tears of joy or just relief?
I do feel remorseful. And can I say a couple of things to these gentlemen?
Yes. Ms. Williams, you are here today with your 2 sisters because you say you're tired of being lied to by your mother, Ms. Liddell. She wasn't a good mother and say her promiscuous behavior is the reason you need the results of a paternity test today.
Ms. Williams and her 2 sisters have taken their family drama to court, determined to confront the painful truth about their fatherless upbringing. Their mother, Ms. Liddell, is also present, hoping to finally resolve the lingering paternity questions. Years of resentment have driven a wedge between them, and she's desperate to mend the damage caused by her past choices.
Tell me about the paternity issues.
It was this man who was supposedly had been my father,
And we were all like his family, him, my aunt that raised me, wanted the paternity test.
This courtroom is about to turn into a battleground. One thing is painfully obvious. These daughters hold zero love for their mother. And if we're being honest, it's starting to feel like the feeling might be mutual. Time to dig deeper and see just how bad things really are.
Okay, when I was growing up, no, he's not your father. It was a rumor going around that.
Who is that? Going to appear in court today and has been tested?
Yes.
All right, so how do you start getting doubt?
When I was about 17 years old, me and her had an argument, and she said, that's why not your father. Trying to hit it at a low point, knowing that growing up, that's always been something always eating at me, not knowing who my father was.
Trying to piece together this situation is like solving a puzzle with missing pieces. The sisters were raised under the belief that a man named James was their father, only for their mother to turn around during heated arguments and say otherwise. To make things worse, Mr. James himself treats them differently, convinced that not all 3 girls are his. This whole thing is a mess.
After I had my son was 3 months. We go to the gas station. A man notices my mother, but he calls out her name. Who are you? She's talking about some, I don't know you. Talking about some, yes you do. She's talking about some, oh, Lisa, they're your daddy. How is you not gonna know this is my daddy when you look at him? But you tell, that's your daddy.
This family's problems run deeper than anything paternity court can fix. The youngest sister, Lisa, is adamant that James isn't her biological father. Meanwhile, all 3 women still carry the scars of being left behind by their mother and raised by other relatives. Ms. Liddell insists she had her reasons, but her daughters aren't interested in hearing them.
Do you know who her father is?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest. Jamie, no. Lisa, no. I'm not for sure if James is their father, if he's not their father. Because I was whorish. I did me. Okay, you can keep your slab remarks. I was whorish.
Honestly, it's hard not to see where these sisters are coming from. Their mother can't even identify a single father for any of her children. That means James Williams, the one man they thought could be their dad, might not be related to any of them.
Do you believe you are these young biological fathers? Do you believe that?
Deep in my heart, Your Honor, and I hate. But no, I do not.
You don't act like it, so it shouldn't be hurting you. He said no. You don't act like it. You show it.
I always had the doubt in my heart. When I met their mom, she was living the type of lifestyle as a party girl, fast girl. One time I caught her in a car with a guy.
Despite his doubts, Mr. James has tried to be a presence in their lives. But let's be real, if he never felt sure they were his, that must have affected the way he treated them. And these girls, they've spent their whole lives living in uncertainty. Imagine growing up unsure whether the man you call dad is actually your father. Imagine raising children without ever knowing for sure that they're yours. That kind of doubt can destroy people.
Your Honor, I have a question for both of them. Why did you miss my 8th grade graduation? You weren't away.
Because
you were out. You were able to come. Why did you miss it?
Jamie, because I was a piece of, like, I'm not gonna keep,
Oh, wow.
I'm keeping it real. Y'all want to keep it real?
At this point, paternity is almost beside the point. The real issue here is the emotional wreckage left behind. These sisters have so much built-up resentment that even with DNA results, they'd still be hurling insults at their mother. If this family wants peace, they don't just need answers, they need serious therapy.
But you have to be careful about the words you use with, because it will eat away at them. Down the same road you were, somebody broke you down.
This case is unlike any other. It's not just about proving paternity. It's about a mother who's begging for a second chance while her daughters refuse to grant her one. It's about 3 women who grew up without a mother's love and learned to resent her for it. This isn't just a courtroom dispute. It's a tragic story of a shattered family.
If the only thing you require of her is that she continue, what a piece of crap she's been to you. Look, let me call it the way I see it. You see her, she living her agony every day. Sometimes there's nothing you can do to punish a person more than they punish themselves.
Your Honor.
And I want you all to understand that we're going to But tell people all the time, in the comfy victim chair, because it suits you well a lot of times. It gets comfortable.
Judge Lauren hit the nail on the head. Ms. Liddell knows she failed her daughters, and she carries that guilt every single day. She's not pretending to be blameless. The question is, can these women allow her to at least try to make things right? They have been at this woman's neck since day one.
What you need in your life and what you're wanting in your life is not just going to come from, but it's going to truly come when you begin to find out who your mother was. And let's have the results.
Enough of the heartbreak. Let's get to the truth. It's time to find out if Mr. Williams is actually the father of any of these sisters. This is it, the moment they've all been waiting for. After years of uncertainty, the truth is finally about to come out. Whatever happens next, one thing is for sure. This family will never be the same.
When it comes to Ms. Jasmine Williams, Mr. Williams, you. When it comes to Ms. Lisa Williams, Mr. Williams, you are not her father. Ms. Jamie Williams, Mr. Williams, you are not her father.
Thank you, James, for what you did for me. Thank you.
Mr. Flower, court today to prove that you are not the biological father of her 2-month-old daughter, Callie.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you were duped into naming the baby and signing her birth certificate, and now the DNA test will prove your case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Flowers once thought he was making the right call by signing Callie's birth certificate, but now that decision haunts him. Deep down, he's convinced he was deceived, and today, he's putting an end to the doubt once and for all. That's why he dragged his ex, Ms. Diaz, to paternity court, determined to prove that Callie isn't his. Meanwhile, Ms. Diaz, who fully admits she cheated, still insists that he's the father.
Ms. Diaz, you claim that it was Mr. Flowers' jealousy and insecurity that drove you to have sex with another man, but you are confident that Mr. Flowers is your daughter's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, waiting in the hallway is Mr. Bowman, the man you cheated with, who Mr. Flowers believes is Callie's dad.
This situation is messy, but let's be real. It's not looking good for Ms. Diaz. If there wasn't a real possibility that Mr. Flowers wasn't the father, we wouldn't be here. He's tired of the uncertainty and refuses to keep playing house if he's been lied to. The only way forward is through the truth, no matter how ugly it gets. So what exactly tipped him off that Callie might not be his?
When I get her mad, she like to slither away. She give me this some type of attitude like, oh, I don't want to be with you. We never gonna work. You know, except for standing still and saying, hey, let's try to make this work. Stop trying to go to the next man and find love, because your love is right here.
And just like that, we have the first major red flag. If there was absolutely no way this baby belonged to anyone else, then this case would already be closed, right? No need for DNA tests, no courtroom drama, but let's not kid ourselves. This is paternity court, where the mess is mandatory. If we've learned anything, it's that there are always shocking twists, and based on what we've heard so far, Ms. Diaz might not be telling us everything. But first, how did this relationship even fall apart?
Me and Mr. Flowers have an off and on relationship, a very rocky relationship. Met up again after high school about 3 years ago. Although we love each other, we don't get along. We're like oil and water. We fight, bicker all the time, and we're better off just as friends.
Mr. Flowers has seen enough. In his mind, the evidence is overwhelming, and he's done playing the fool. As for Ms. Diaz, she's trying to save face, but the cracks in her story are showing. We need to rewind a bit. How exactly did he even find out about this disaster with Mr. Bowman?
She sleep around. So in my head, it's like, do you want me to be there because you know I'm gonna be there and you know I'm gonna be the good father? Or are you just gonna use me because you can't find these other dudes to be the father?
So you think she's saying you're the father because you're the steady Eddie?
True story.
Ah, yes, the usual script. Every cheater has a reason. Daddy issues, a rough childhood, feeling neglected. Somehow it's never their fault, right? But at the end of the day, stepping out is a choice. So what's Ms. Diaz's excuse? Let's hear it straight from her.
Mr. Flowers wasn't giving me the support I needed emotionally or financially for us to be able to make a relationship work. I'm sure that he's the father because I was only with him during the time of conception.
Oh, please. We all know exactly why she didn't tell her doctor the truth. If she had, the doctor would have immediately warned her that her little oops moment with Mr. Bowman meant the paternity was a giant question mark. But instead of facing reality back then, she let Mr. Flowers take on the role of daddy without hesitation. Now, let's hear how she dropped this bombshell on him.
I was partying, you know what I'm saying? Like, then I get this call. I'm like, I haven't saw this number in a while. You know what I'm saying? I wonder what she want. You know what I'm saying? Probably want to kick it, probably remember it's my birthday or something. And she's like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what?
Wait a minute. So at first she had no clue who the father was, but now she's suddenly claiming it's definitely Mr. Flowers? That's some Olympic-level mental gymnastics. Where did all that uncertainty go? Did she just decide he was the father because it was more convenient? Something's not adding up.
Me and Mr. Bowman were friends.
And so during the pregnancy, he was around?
Hold up, what? Just friends? Nah, you didn't tell me all that. Y'all was saying, oh, we were this and that. He made me feel good, and
Me and Mr. Bowman were never in a official relationship.
But during the pregnancy, you were with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
No one can say Mr. Flowers didn't step up. From the moment she told him about the baby, he played his part like a responsible man. But the way things are unraveling, it looks like he may have jumped in way too soon. If this test proves he's not the father, there's a real possibility he could still be financially responsible for a child that isn't his. But before we go there, let's hear from Mr. Bowman himself.
Do you believe Callie is your child?
No, ma'am, I do not.
You don't?
No, ma'am.
You did have sex with her, right?
We did have sex.
Without protection?
Without protection.
You understand that's how babies are made. You do?
Yeah, I do.
Well, that was unexpected. Mr. Bowman is swearing up and down that despite being with Ms. Diaz multiple times during the conception window, he never, finished. Sir, that's a bold claim, and honestly, if that's the case, you might need to go see a doctor. But enough of the excuses. At this point, the only thing that matters is cold, hard DNA.
Mr. Flowers, you are not the father. Mr. Bowman, you are not the father.
No more dodging, no more guessing. The test results are in, and once Judge Lauren reads them out, someone's world is about to crumble. After all of this, Ms. Diaz cheated, and the unfortunate consequences are there and will never go away. Here is the aftermath of all the drama in court.
Ms. Diaz, is there something else missing from the calendar?
The week after I was intimate with another guy, in July, I was living with another guy.
Mr. Fagan, you're here to prove that Miss Pinkston is your biological daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you kept this secret for 40 years, but now say the DNA will prove your case.
That's right, Your Honor.
Mr. Kenneth Fegan has kept a life-altering secret buried for over 4 decades. But today, the truth is finally coming to light. This revelation is no small confession. It directly calls into question Ms. Pinkston's paternity, sending shockwaves through the courtroom before the case even begins. Despite the uncertainty swirling around her past, Ms. Pinkston stands firm, adamant that she already knows who her real father is. But with a scandal this deep, can she really be so sure?
Ms. Pinkston, you stand before me without any doubt that Mr. Fagan is not your biological father, and the man who raised you is.
Yes, ma'am.
Imagine being just 16 years old and suddenly being told that the man you've called dad your whole life might not actually be your father. That's exactly what happened to Ms. Pinkston when her mother brought her to Mr. Fegan's house, and without so much as a warning, introduced him as her real father. To make matters worse, her mother made her swear to keep it a secret, one she carried for the next 27 years. She's 43 now. Standing in this courtroom, still haunted by that moment, who in their right mind tells something so life-altering to a child and expects them to just live with it?
I met Mr. Fagan here when I was 16 years old. I never knew of him, never heard nothing about him. And then all of a sudden one day, my mom decided to take me with her to a friend's house. My mom calls me to the dining room. She goes, I want you to meet somebody. They get to talking to me, Mr. Fagan, and my mom. Then my mom just out says, hey, by the way, this is your father.
As it turns out, Ms. Pinkston's mother wasn't exactly the faithful wife everyone thought she was. While married to Mr. Pinkston, she was having a hidden affair with Mr. Fegan right under his nose. They worked together at a plant, and apparently, they made excellent use of their break times. After their not-so-innocent rendezvous, she'd go home like nothing happened, smiling in her husband's face. This wasn't just a slip-up, it was an ongoing deception, and the audacity is mind-blowing.
Me and Miss Pinkston
mother had an affair. We worked together at a plant. We got to know each other.
You spent a lot of time together.
A lot of
Because you
time
worked
together.
a lot of hours together.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
For 6 months, this affair went completely undetected. Mr. Pinkston had no reason to suspect anything. His wife left for work and came home like clockwork. But then, everything took a turn. She got pregnant, and instead of coming clean, she and Mr. Fegan hatched a plan to keep the affair hidden. Their solution? Pass the baby off as Mr. Pinkston's. If the DNA test proves he wasn't actually Ms. Pinkston's father, then this poor man was lied to until the day he died. That is betrayal on a whole different level.
I left the job and told me that she was pregnant.
When she told you, did she say, and I think you are the father? Or you
told me
might
I
be?
was the father. And she told me we're going to keep this a secret. Well, then we knew we had to be quiet because she was married.
The reason Ms. Pinkston was even introduced to Mr. Fegan as her real father is absolutely ridiculous. Her mother didn't suddenly develop a conscience or feel remorse for deceiving her family. No, that would have been too noble. Instead, she was only worried that her daughter might have been dating someone from Mr. Fegan's family. The irony? It wasn't even Ms. Pinkston who was involved with the relative. It was her sister. That entire situation could have been avoided if her mother had just told the truth decades ago.
The only reason why this all came out, for the cat to get out the bag, is when I was 16, they told me that Kenny was my father. The only reason why was because my mom thought I was dating one of his family members. And that's why they told me. But needless to say, it was not me, it's my sister that was dating.
Learning about her mother's infidelity at such a young age left Ms. Pinkston carrying a burden no child should have to bear. She lived with that knowledge, unable to confide in the man she still believed was her father, all the way up until his passing. Imagine the agony of holding on to that secret, never knowing how he would have reacted if he had heard it from her instead of someone else.
That was like the worst day of my life. Because my mom sit down, she goes, "This is your father." I'm like, "No, my dad is at work, so what in the world are you talking about?" And next thing you know, there's tears everywhere. Everybody's crying. It was pretty much the worst day of my life.
And here's where it gets even more twisted. Mr. Fegan wasn't just lurking in the background. He actually met Mr. Pinkston a few times in his own house. Yes, you read that correctly. He waltzed into the man's home, played the role of a family friend, and secretly looked at Ms. Pinkston as his daughter. And now, conveniently, he's claiming that Mr. Pinkston might have known the truth all along. It's easy to make bold claims when the one person who could deny them is no longer here to defend himself.
He had some kind of inkling that I was the father.
You felt like he knew?
It was just a feeling that in my heart that I felt that he had to know something because I loved this girl so much.
Did you have an occasion to meet her father, the man she believes?
A couple times I met him.
You did?
Yes.
Just when you think this man couldn't get any bolder, he proves us wrong. After Mr. Pinkston's death, while the family was deep in mourning, Mr. Fegan saw an opportunity. Instead of giving them space to grieve, he took it upon himself to tell Ms. Pinkston's children that he was their real grandfather. Judge Lauren was visibly shocked when this revelation was brought up in court, and rightfully so. His excuse? He thought Ms. Pinkston had already told them, so he just decided to make it official. Can you imagine the confusion and devastation those kids must have felt?
My dad passed away. It was probably a few days after he passed away. We was all at my mom's house, and Mr. Fegan, he comes over, and I had my kids there. My kids really didn't know him, but when my dad passed away, he decided to take it upon himself to tell my kids that he's their grandfather.
This case is not just about paternity anymore. It's about betrayal, deception, and a lifetime of secrets coming to light. No matter what the DNA test says, the damage has already been done. But after 43 years of uncertainty, there's only one thing left to do. It's time to uncover the truth.
Mr. Fegan,
yes.
You are not her father.
Oh my God.
Oh, Lord, no.
The results are in. Ms. Pinkston has found out once and for all who her real father is. What an emotional moment this must be for both of them. As always, her mom that cheated on her father is the origin of this mess. To think that the secret was kept for about 40 years, only for the real truth you be revealed today. Ms. Pinkston has been living in doubt of paternity all her life.
No. Oh, no. Tanya, boy. Have mercy, Jesus. No.
Are you all right, Tanya?
This is something
I can't believe this.
that need to be known.
Mr. Pace, you say you will be crushed today if DNA results reveal you are not the biological father of your son, Prince.
Yes, Your Honor.
Nothing devastates a man quite like discovering that his only son might not actually be his. Today, Mr. Pace walks into this courtroom, not just to confront his girlfriend, Ms. Fobbs, but also to face the man who might have betrayed him in the worst way possible, his own roommate, Mr. Randolph. This isn't just a case of infidelity. This is a full-blown disaster where both men could potentially be the father of little Prince. Talk about a betrayal that cuts deep.
Now, Ms. Fobbs, you say you were caught between the man you're in love with and his best friend.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit you made a horrible mistake when you slept with both men, but you say you're still hoping with all your heart that Mr. Pace is your son's biological father.
For Mr. Pace, everything he holds dear is on the line. His role as a father, his trust in his best friend, and the love he once had for the woman standing across from him are all hanging in the balance. No matter what the DNA results reveal, there's no coming back from this. Even if he chooses to stay, the way he sees his woman and his so-called best friend will never be the same again. And honestly, who could blame him?
Well, what's at stake would be, I would say, 3 relationships. The relationship that I have with Ms. Fobbs, as well as the relationship that I have with Mr. Randolph, also the relationship that I have with Prince. So there is a lot on the line for me. That's my little man.
Their love story started out like something straight out of a romance novel. Sunny skies, new beginnings, and what seemed like endless possibilities. But today, those skies have turned dark, and their so-called fairy tale is falling apart. When Ms. Fobbs moved in with Mr. Pace and his best friend, it might have seemed like a convenient arrangement at the time. But let's be real. What man in his right mind brings his girlfriend into a home he shares with another man? That setup was a disaster waiting to happen. Eventually, they got their own place when she became pregnant, but by then, the damage might have already been done.
We met while I was actually driving. It was a hot day. She had on short shorts. I'm a leg man.
Okay.
So I pulled over, actually, and we had a conversation. I ended up getting her phone number. We went out on a few dates. We kind of bonded real quick.
Ms. Fobbs wants to brush off this whole mess as nothing more than a misunderstanding. To her, this isn't a love triangle. It was just a one-time mistake. But someone needs to remind her that one time is all it takes to create a baby. And her excuse? She felt lonely because Mr. Pace worked nights. So instead of communicating like a mature adult, she turned to the one person she should have never gone near, her boyfriend's best friend. How does she even begin to justify that?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a love triangle because the situation with me and Randolph only happened once. Upon me being in the house with Byron, the thing is, he works at night, so he's never really home with me, and I kind of took that as a feeling of neglect.
It turns out Ms. Fobbs had her own insecurities brewing beneath the surface. Since Mr. Pace works as a club and party promoter, he's constantly surrounded by women. This didn't sit right with her, and maybe, just maybe, she convinced herself that he was being unfaithful. But if that was the case, why not leave? Instead, she did the exact thing she accused him of doing, except there was no proof that he ever cheated.
Arguing about it was past. It was just me feeling neglected at home.
I do work a lot. I promote clubs and parties, so I am out and I am around a lot of, I would say, women. And she kind of, I guess, takes that as me being unfaithful.
Secrets have a funny way of slipping out, especially when emotions are running high. During a heated argument, Ms. Fobbs finally cracked and dropped the bombshell that shattered Mr. Pace's world. With zero hesitation, she looked him in the eye and blurted out that his best friend might actually be the father of his son. At that moment, Prince was already 2.5 years old. Just imagine thinking a child is yours for 2 whole years, only to suddenly be told, oops, maybe not. That's enough to break even the strongest man.
That she slept with your best friend?
Well, that's interesting. We were actually in a heated argument at the time that it occurred, but it kind of just got blurted out to me that Mr. Randolph could be a potential father for Prince.
Despite the earth-shattering betrayal, Mr. Pace did something that most men wouldn't have the strength to do. He He kept his emotions in check and decided to confront his best friend face to face. He needed to hear the truth directly from the source. After the conversation, both men agreed to settle this the only way they could, with a DNA test. And let's be honest, handling it this way took a level of maturity that most wouldn't have had in his situation.
When I found out initially, like I said, I was hurt. I felt betrayed by actually both parties at that point. But I wanted to assess the situation, not being upset, because I initially called Mr. Randolph to find out what was going on. I wanted to meet with him face to face.
Mr. Randolph, on the other hand, is doing what most cheaters do, blaming everything on the alcohol. According to him, he was too drunk to realize he was hooking up with his best friend's girl. But let's be real, there's a difference between being drunk and choosing to betray someone you call a brother. He knew exactly what he was doing. The liquor didn't make the decision for him. He did.
Well, to answer that, Your Honor, I wasn't in the right state of mind. We both was intoxicated. You know, he was out promoting club, and she used to come home from the club intoxicated and, you know, looking for him. He's not there. Me and her talk, and, you know, one night the talk led to something else.
Despite everything, Mr. Pace made the unthinkable decision to forgive both his girlfriend and his best friend. But forgiveness doesn't erase resentment, and that's exactly what's lingering in the air. The DNA results will either bring him some kind of closure or make this situation even worse than it already is. One way or another, the truth is about to come out.
Was it only one time?
Honestly, that I can recall yet.
Well,
I said just one time.
One time is one time too many for me. I'm very confused at this point. It's really hard for me to be standing here and in front of you, and I'm kind of nervous as far as what I'm about to hear. I don't know, really want to move forward with.
Oh my goodness, he gets it. This man is so hurt by this whole thing. Why cheat, really? One time is one too many, Ms. Fobbs. It's just not right. Right now, this woman has jeopardized every single thing she built with this man, all because of some one-time fling. Isn't that just so tragic? All because of one unfortunate bottle of liquor?
Mr. Pace, you are not his father.
Oh, man.
Continuing on with the next result. Mr. Randolph, you are not.
I apologize.
Ms. Fobbs?
I don't know what to say.